This young man was originally a sophomore at Ningai University. Because he disliked dormitory life, Chenchu decided to rent a house off campus. That day, a pet store had just received a batch of special pets. He immediately took a liking to a sea-maned lizard. The sea-maned lizard had a gentle temperament, but unexpectedly, as soon as it was released, an accident occurred. Chenchu was bitten hard on the arm by the sea-maned lizard. Instinctively, he threw the phone he was holding straight at its head. Afterwards, his body spun, and he fainted. When he woke up, he discovered he could see his own image through the eyes of the sea-maned lizard. After some observation, he realized he had the ability to control the sea-maned lizard, which made him overjoyed. Could this be his golden finger? His protagonist status could finally no longer be hidden. But what could this lizard avatar do? Livestream his sentient lizard, or go into the sea to dive for abalone and catch sea cucumbers to sell for money. Chenchu held the sea-maned lizard in his hand and sighed. Other people's golden fingers were either being a heavenly mandate supervillain or transforming into a large tree that could evolve into a god of the universe, while he only had a tiny lizard. Just then, both his and the lizard's stomachs rumbled in protest. It turned out he had been unconscious for a whole day. What did the sea-maned lizard eat? If it was a lizard, food probably wouldn't be an issue. A little later, after eating his fill, Chenchu cooked a plate of stir-fried meat and vegetables for the sea-maned lizard. The sea-maned lizard's eyes shone like stars as it wolfed down the meat dish Chenchu had prepared. Indeed, like other lizards, the sea-maned lizard could also eat meat. At this moment, a system panel suddenly appeared before Chenchu's eyes. Your avatar has gained 5 evolution points through eating. Your physique has increased by 0.5. Character name: Chenchu level 0. Physique: 8.5. Spirit: 12. Talent: mental control trait. External aura: beginner experience. Points: 0/1000. Chi perception: beginner. Experience: 0/1000. Skills: Bajikwan beginner. Experience: 48/100. Tantui: beginner. Experience: 66/100. Avatar: sea-maned lizard evolutions. 0 evolution points. 5/200. Could this be my real golden finger? Chenchu thought. He recalled practicing martial arts with his father as a child. Practicing forms without cultivating internal energy is useless even in old age. The foundation is in the feet, originating from the feet with the back, as the main core, harmonizing the strength of the entire body, manifesting in the fingers. While his father spoke, Chenchu, tired from holding his stance and out of breath, trembled and asked, "Dad, I'm so tired. After holding the stance, can I skip running?" His father sternly replied, "No, giving up halfway makes you a weakling." "I won't be a weakling," Chenchu said with determination, then started running. After a short distance, his foot tripped on a stone, causing him to fall. His father came over not to help him up, but only to remind him, "Get up by yourself. If you fall outside, no one will pick you up." One day, Chenchu's father gave him a box instructing, "This is all the family's savings. You have a long road ahead of you. You must walk the path ahead on your own. Remember, your martial arts skills must not be abandoned. Only when you are strong enough can you see the other side of the world."
No.
With tears in his eyes, Chenchu asked his father, "How can I meet you in the future?" His father was silent for a moment, then replied, "Wait until you reach the Grandmaster realm, but perhaps I will no longer be around by then." Returning to the present, Chenchu looked up at the photo taken with his father, feeling a bit wistful. Unconsciously, 10 years had passed. Just then, the sea-maned lizard finished eating. "Does it feel a bit longer?" Chenchu wondered. Another system panel appeared, announcing that the sea-maned lizard had gained 15 evolution points. Not only that, Chenchu also noticed his own body had become visibly more muscular. His physique wasn't this good before. The evolution points the sea-maned lizard received were also reflected in his own body. If he accumulated enough evolution points, it could complete its first evolution. Perhaps it could grow into the giant beast of his dreams, and he could become a true martial arts grandmaster. So, the very next day, Chenchu began the task of fattening up the sea-maned lizard, while also constantly training to improve his physique. The experience points for his skills also increased accordingly. 2 days later, Chenchu was so strong that he broke a training sandbag in half with a single kick. After checking his status panel and seeing that all his stats had increased considerably, Chenchu thought with satisfaction, "In terms of martial arts realms, I should have reached the peak of the Bright Realm by now." His father had once said that the realms of ancient martial arts were divided into Bright Realm, Dark Realm, and Transformation Realm. The peak of the Bright Realm already made one a contemporary expert capable of fighting 10 opponents. The Dark Realm allowed one to become a first-rate expert capable of fighting 100 typically found in legendary aristocratic families. The Transformation Realm allowed one to fight 1,000. They were grandmasters recorded in history books rarely seen in the present day. As for above the Transformation Realm, there was the indestructible God-Sight Realm, only recorded in ancient texts. At that time, Chenchu couldn't help but ask curiously, "So what realm are you?" "Dad." "I once reached the Dark Realm for a short period," his father began. But before he could finish, Chenchu interrupted, "Are you also from an aristocratic family?" "Dad." "An aristocratic family." Chenchu's father seemed slightly surprised, then replied, "I am from Liaotong." Returning to the main events after a period of fattening it up, the sea-maned lizard finally had enough points to evolve. Avatar sea-maned lizard has met the evolution requirements, preparing to evolve immediately. Both Chenchu and the sea-maned lizard felt an excruciating pain in every cell, causing the sea-maned lizard to run amok, breaking furniture in the house. But in return, the sea-maned lizard's body began to transform. Not only did its size increase, but sharp scales also grew along its back. After a while, the evolution process ended. "Unexpectedly, evolution is so painful," Chenchu exclaimed. Noticing the sea-maned lizard's transformation, Chenchu immediately controlled it to whip its tail, directly breaking the sandbag in half. Chenchu opened the attribute panel to check and couldn't help but marvel. Unexpectedly, when the avatar evolves, the main body's physique and traits directly double. I just don't know if this growth is because my current strength is too weak, so it doubles, or if every time the avatar evolves, the main body's physique will double. If it's the former, then my initial strength can increase at a pretty good rate. If it's the latter, then it's a bit terrifying. Currently, judging by ancient martial arts realms, he had just stepped into the Dark Realm, activating the trait to project externalized force. So have I become a martial arts master now, but through training, 100 skill experience points a day is already the limit. If it's synchronous enhancement to continue improving my physique, I can only rely on the sea-maned lizard. Just as Chenchu thought of this, he was surprised to find that the sea-maned lizard could also release the main body's external aura. At this moment, a frantic knocking suddenly sounded at the door. The muscular neighbor, Furious, was about to teach Chenchu a lesson, but as soon as he saw Chenchu and the aura emanating from him, a chill ran down his spine. He immediately did a 180, his attitude becoming as docile as a puppy. Recently, I felt it was a bit noisy upstairs, so I came up to check." "Are you by any chance doing renovations?" Chenchu replied apologetically. "Sorry, I'm not renovating. I've just been training recently. I didn't expect to disturb you." "Training? Whose training is like an earthquake?" The muscular man curiously peeked into Chenchu's house. Seeing a scene that looked like it had gone through an interstellar war, he was terrified and only dared to offer a few gentle reminders before quickly scurrying away. Closing the door, Chenchu looked at the sea-maned lizard for a while and thought to himself, "The sea-maned lizard's size is no longer suitable for keeping indoors. It's about time. I should take the sea-maned lizard avatar to the sea." No sooner said than done, Chen Chu drove the sea-maned lizard to the coast. Then, standing on the shore, he used his spiritual sense to control the sea-maned lizard, to jump into the sea, using its body to perceive the underwater world. His current chi perception could cover a radius of 10.5 meters outside his body. Thanks to this, Chen Chu could sense the presence of creatures within his chi perception range. Discovering a strange fish with 5 eyes, Chen Chu decided to make it his first prey. Your avatar has eaten a mutated fish and gained 10 evolution points. Your physique, +1. While searching for his next prey, Chen Chu thought, after evolution, a full meal of ordinary food can only provide 1 evolution point. This mutated fish, however, can provide 10 points. With mutated creatures appearing in the sea like this, combined with recent news, it seems the world isn't very peaceful. So Chen Chu continued to let the sea-maned lizard roam around looking for prey. Soon the sea-maned lizard's hungry stomach was filled. Hint: today, the avatar has accumulated 100 evolution points and cannot receive any more evolution points. Receiving the notification, Chen Chu stopped hunting to find a place for the sea-maned lizard to stay. From a human perspective, the seabed at night is dark and cold, but in the eyes of the sea-maned lizard avatar, the seabed at this time was sparkling with many colors. As an amphibious creature, although the sea-maned lizard could stay underwater for a long time, it didn't have gills and still relied on lungs to breathe. Therefore, it had to surface for air at intervals. With that criterion, Chen Chu quickly found a suitable cave. This place doesn't look bad for the sea-maned lizard avatar to rest. After settling things, Chen Chu returned home. On the way, he unexpectedly spotted a car parked outside a house in such a remote wooded area. For someone to be living here, it looked suspicious, no matter how he looked at it. Chen Chu stopped his car. Just then, he heard a cry for help, but very quickly the space returned to its original silence. As a martial artist, I should conceal my aura and wait for an opportunity to act. Thinking this, Chen Chu didn't linger and drove away. Inside the house, 2 men peeked through a crack in the door. Seeing Chen Chu leave, they breathed a sigh of relief. They turned back to the girl who was tied up her mouth, also gagged by one of the men's hands. The bald man walked over and kicked the other man. "How do you do things, huh? Didn't I tell you to watch her? The gag fell off and you didn't even know. Boss, it was so dark when we dragged her in, how could I have seen—" "The other man," Ching Ming whined. The bald man said nothing more and turned to threaten the girl with a few words. Meanwhile, outside, Chen Chu hadn't left, but had parked his car nearby. He himself was using his chi perception to scout inside. Kidnapping, human trafficking. 3 men, 2 of them have knives. It's best to deal with them within a minute to prevent the hostage from being threatened. With that thought, Chen Chu kicked down the door with 1 foot. While the men were still dazed, he launched a kick, knocking down one. The bald man, seeing this, rushed forward with a knife, but Chen Chu's elbow sent him flying. "Boss, you rest first!" The last man helped the bald one aside, then channeled his internal energy and said to Chen Chu, "Yue Wang Chui Ning Fu. Lao Tong Bajiquan Chen Chu." After the swift introductions, Ning Fu immediately made his move. First, he attacked Chen Chu with the Yue Wang Chui's first form. Head Road Hammer, but Chen Chu easily dodged it. Ning Fu quickly transitioned to Yue Wang Chui's second form. 2 horses head rode, sweeping Chen Chu's legs, causing him to lose balance, then swung his fist, hitting Chen Chu in the face. An expert, Chen Chu thought, then used the Bajiquan move, Iron Mountain Crash, to send Ning Fu flying. I didn't expect to meet a true successor of Lao Tong Bajiquan after coming down the mountain this time. The Bajiquan ultimate technique, Iron Mountain Crash, truly lives up to its reputation. What a pity. Ning Fu, hearing this, frowned and asked, "Pity? What do you mean I didn't expect to encounter a ruffian who could use Yue Wang Chui's fist techniques? It's a pity that a true successor of Yue Wang Chui has walked an evil path." Ning Fu laughed and replied, A brat like you who still smells of milk, what the hell do you know? Only after coming down the mountain did I understand that this world has always laughed at the poor, not at prostitutes. While speaking, Ning Fu suddenly rushed forward, intending to cripple both of Chen Chu's eyes, but Chen Chu once again kicked him, sending him tumbling to the ground. Fighting a martial artist is truly dangerous. The sense of oppression he exuded far surpassed that of a dozen strong men. Unfortunately, my control over my strength is still insufficient. These three are likely done for. Next, I need to think about how to practice controlling my strength. As Chen Chu was lost in thought, the cry of the kidnapped girl startled him back to reality. He hurriedly ran over to help her loosen her bindings. As soon as she was freed, the girl hugged Chen Chu tightly, crying like rain. "Don't be afraid, it's okay now." Chen Chu comforted her, then instructed, "After I leave, you can call the police. But could you do me a favor? When the police ask, could you just say you didn't get a clear look at my face?" The girl nodded in agreement. 10 minutes later, police surrounded the house where the girl was being held captive. They entered the house with guns drawn, intending to rescue the girl, but unexpectedly the ones they needed to rescue were the kidnappers. A few hours later, Guan Qing from the Public Security Bureau went to the Deputy Chief's office of the Public Security Bureau to report. "Deputy Chief, these are the documents you requested." A clear footprint was found on the damaged door. From the depth of the indentation and the fact that the door shaft was kicked broken, it shows it was kicked at least 3 meters away. The force was at least 1,000 caddies approx. 500 kili or 1,100 pounds. 2 of the kidnapping group members died on the spot. The remaining one suffered severe brain trauma and has become a vegetable. According to Lin Roya, the person was wearing a mask in the darkness, so she couldn't see the face of her rescuer. The deputy chief looked at the file and couldn't help but be skeptical. How is this possible? The boxing champion with the best record only has a punch of 800 caddies on the strength testing machine. Applied in combat, ordinary people simply cannot exert such great force. His strength has reached an inhuman level, but strange things have been happening more and more frequently recently. Just as Guan Qing finished speaking, thunder rumbled outside as if heralding an impending storm. Returning to the protagonist after rescuing Lin Roya on the way back to the city, Chen Chu spotted a very suspicious ship docked at sea. So using the same method as before, Chen Chu found a parking spot and observed secretly. "Boss, you just made some money and you already spent $1 million to find Baldy Who to buy women? Isn't that too wasteful?" "That's right. It took us so long and so much effort to finally salvage a sunken ship, and we only made a little over 2 million. Facing his underlings' dissatisfaction, Zhang Changshu replied contemptuously, "Such a narrow vision. With her, won't money be easy to come by?" Hearing this, the 2 underlings beamed and had no more objections. At this moment, Zhang Changshu asked Four Eyes, "Is the company business done?" "Rest assured, boss. I've set up the shipping company in the last 2 days. The office was also arranged according to your request, boss. I rented a high-end office building. In addition, I also followed your request and asked the brokerage company to recruit a beautiful secretary and a receptionist guaranteed to satisfy you, boss." Hearing this, Zhang Changshu said happily, "With the underwater breathing superpower that I awakened, as long as I can locate those sunken ships, I can retrieve those treasures. At that time, we'll have as much money as we want. You guys just follow me and live a life of luxury." Just then, a figure quickly darted behind the bushes, putting Zhang Changshu on alert. "Who's there?" Chen Chu didn't bother hiding and revealed himself, saying contemptuously, "There are many lecherous people, but this is the first time I've met someone as brazen as you. You're bold, but people like you don't live long." Zhang Changshu pulled out a dagger and rushed towards Chen Chu. Chen Chu naturally didn't stand still. He lifted one leg, and as soon as Zhang Changshu got close, he kicked him away. How is this possible? After the boss got his superpower, his strength and speed both doubled. He could easily take on 5 men. One of the underlings exclaimed in shock. The man with glasses, seeing this, quickly urged, "This is bad run." However, before the 2 of them could move, Chen Chu had already knocked them unconscious. Afterwards, Chen Chu tried to use his mental control ability on Zhang Changshu. "What's your name? What do you do?" Zhang Changshu, as if hypnotized, answered truthfully. "My name is Zhang Changshu. I own a large smuggling ship. A month ago, I gained the superpower of underwater breathing. I salvage sunken ships, then sell the treasures from the ships to rich second-generation kids for money. Mental control works very well. He's like a puppet under my control now, Chenchu thought to himself. As soon as he released the mental control, Zhang Changshu clutched his injured arm and screamed in pain. "Boss, what happened to my arm?" "You weren't careful and fell and broke it yourself," Chenchu replied. "So that's how it is." "Yes, boss." "My mental control has affected his inner judgment." Chenchu chuckled inwardly, then ordered, "You go rest on the ship first. I'll wake these two up and come right away." "Yes, boss," Zhang Changshu replied and obediently followed. "My sea-maned lizard's growth cannot be separated from food. Zhang Changshu has a ship and cooperates with those rich second-generation kids. I can use his company to gain financial resources to raise the sea-maned lizard," Chenchu thought. He turned to look at the two underlings, then used mental control on them. The effect of mental control is indeed astonishing. But when I controlled Zhang Changshu, there was resistance, yet controlling them was very easy. It seems mental control only targets people with weak willpower. Chenchu controlled the two underlings to follow behind him onto the ship. Zhang Shu, seeing Chenchu, asked Zhang Changshu curiously, "Boss Zhang, who is he?" "He is my boss. Be respectful from now on." Hearing this, Zhang Shu politely greeted Chenchu. Zhang Changshu continued, "Go prepare the transfer contract. From now on, this ship belongs to the boss." After signing the transfer contract, Chenchu began to give orders to Four Eyes. "Tomorrow, you go to the office and wait for me. Boss Zhang, you're injured. Come with me to the hospital for a checkup." 2 days later, thanks to living in the sea-maned lizard ate dozens of meals a day, and its body became increasingly plump. Evolution was only a matter of time. But Chenchu didn't rely solely on that. He was very conscious about training his physique and martial arts to improve his control over his strength in combat. The next day, Chenchu happily walked out of Zhang Changshu's company office. The transfer procedures were completed. Without going out for a day, his evolution points had increased by over 90, and his physique had also increased by 20 sanity status. "Tomorrow I'll let the sea-maned lizard go into the deep sea. Besides, I'm not the only one with special abilities in this world. Combined with the appearance of unnamed creatures at the bottom of the sea, I still need to quickly improve my strength." Meanwhile, out at sea, recently there are fewer fish. "We're about to not be able to catch any," one of Zhang Changshu's underlings said. The other replied, "There must be a large school of fish coming. It could be a school of sharks. Sharks usually appear in schools. Even whales have to avoid them." Just then, below their ship, there was indeed a school of sharks. One of them saw the sea-maned lizard and opened its mouth to bite, but unexpectedly it couldn't eat the sea-maned lizard and was instead eaten by it. The entire school of sharks suffered the same fate, ending up in the sea-maned lizard's stomach. At this moment, Chenchu received a notification, "Your avatar has met the evolution requirements. Do you wish to evolve?" "This time I can even choose independently," Chenchu thought, and immediately chose to evolve. Just like last time, both Chenchu and the sea-maned lizard had to endure pain before the evolution process ended. "I've broken through. My physique is now 13 times that of an ordinary person. My strength has reached the great accomplishment stage of the dark jinn in ancient martial arts. After evolution, my physique didn't double." "That makes sense. Last time it doubled was basically because I was too weak." The new line of abilities caught Chenchu's attention. "But what is this affinity with the water element?" Chenchu used his spiritual sense to examine the sea-maned lizard. "Oh, its physique has increased a lot. Its bone density is also several times greater than before. It weighs more than 4 to 5 tons. Its strength has doubled. Its claws are comparable to steel. Its explosive power is also stronger. Its cruising speed has reached 79 km/h. This speed can already surpass a large warship. The sound it makes while swimming is quieter. This must be the effect of its affinity with the water element." With the evolution complete, Chenchu turned his attention to business. He called Zhang Shu and asked, "Has anyone recently offered to cooperate in treasure hunting?" "Boss, not yet." "Then how are we doing with investigating materials ourselves?" Zhang Shu hesitated and replied, "We've identified several shipwreck locations, but without Boss Zhang Changshu, who can breathe underwater, we—" "Don't have to worry, just go do it," Chenchu said and hung up. The main industries of ancient Country Z, Country H, and Country L, the shallow water areas on the sea routes, have been almost completely explored, but the deep water areas still have many shipwrecks of considerable value. Chenchu used his spiritual sense perceiving from the sea-maned lizard's perspective, which was 25 kilometers offshore in the Yellow Sea region. This time after evolution, it can breathe underwater. Its sensory perception is also much stronger. It can sense everything within 20 kilometers. After some adjustments, I can take action. Isn't cultivating an avatar enjoying life? Chenchu withdrew his spiritual sense, picked up his phone, and looked at the time. It's almost 11 o'clock. Time to treat myself a little. On the pedestrian street, Chenchu strolled leisurely and thought to himself, this is truly enjoyable. Just one meal cost over 3,000. Although I only have 20,000 in savings, I'm about to receive boss Zhang Changshu's company. This can be considered my first experience of feeling rich. Suddenly, he witnessed two thugs approaching a drunk blonde girl sitting by the roadside. After gaining great strength, his martial heart also gradually awakened. When there's no danger, I don't mind stepping in, Chenchu thought, then pointed at the two thugs and shouted, "What are you looking at, scram?" The two thugs, having their good deed ruined, looked at him angrily and cursed. "Damn it, kid. What did you say, scram now, and I'll pretend I didn't see you?" Chenchu smirked. He said nothing but directly released his aura. Instantly, the two thugs felt as if they were being stared at by a ferocious beast. Fear filled their hearts. Just as they were about to flee, the drunk blonde girl suddenly laughed mockingly. "Ha ha! Are you even men scared already?" Chenchu frowned, looking at her and thinking, is this woman sick? As for the two thugs, upon hearing the blonde girl's words, they stopped running and looked at each other. Such a prime woman, if we pass her up, we won't meet another one. No, we can't let a woman look down on us. Thinking this, they drew their weapons, rushed to attack Chenchu, and shouted, "Boss, we have no reason to be afraid, he's alone." "Right, beat him. This guy is too arrogant. Watch me stab him." Faced with this scene, Chenchu simply threw a kick. The two thugs flew backwards. This was only because he had used just a fraction of his strength. Otherwise, one kick could have directly smashed them to pieces. Because of this, the two thugs quickly got up. They piggybacked each other and fled, shouting, so scary, a demon. He's truly a demon from hell." Chenchu didn't chase them. He thought to himself, I'll spare their lives. These two are guilty, but their crimes don't deserve immediate death. At this moment, the blonde girl swayed, stood up, and giggled in praise. "Hee hee, hey, so powerful." Chenchu frowned and muttered, "From her appearance, I'm afraid she's been drugged." He took out his phone and called the police. "Hello, police, in front of Sheng Tang Bar, there's a drunk woman who looks a bit unusual." Meanwhile, the blonde girl hugged his arm, swayed, and giggled. "Why did you call the police? Am I not beautiful? Don't you want to take me away?" A few minutes later, a police car arrived. Chenchu handed the girl over to the police, briefly recounted the incident, and left. He thought to himself, finally things here are settled. It's time to control the sea-maned lizard to find shipwrecks. As soon as he got home, Chenchu immediately controlled his avatar in the deep sea and found a shipwreck. The online documents Four Eyes found were indeed correct. There's a shipwreck here. My chi perception can only sense a range of over 20 meters now. I still need to continue improving it. Muttering, Chenchu controlled the avatar to enter the shipwreck. After a while of searching, he unexpectedly found a place full of gold bars. "Oh, I've struck it rich. It's all gold bars." Joyfully, Chenchu immediately called Four Eyes. Four Eyes, drive the boat 3 kilometers east and drop a submersible container. Four Eyes replied, "Yes, boss." After hanging up, Four Eyes went to prepare. As he passed Zhang Shu, Four Eyes asked, "Black ghost among the boss's subordinates besides Zhang Changshu, does anyone else know how to breathe underwater?" Zhang Shu replied, "Don't talk nonsense. Don't inquire about the boss's secrets." A little later, Chenchu controlled the sea-maned lizard to load all the gold into the submersible container that Four Eyes had dropped. Then he called Four Eyes again. "You can start retrieving it." So the container was pulled up. A few minutes later, Four Eyes reported, "Boss, the goods are on board. We're heading back." At the bottom of the sea, Chenchu continued to explore the ship and found a very hard black object. "It seems to be a piece of very hard metal. My claws can easily tear ordinary metal, but they leave no mark on this. This must be a special metal material. It will definitely make a good item for research," Chenchu muttered. He picked up the metal block and was about to swim away when he was suddenly attacked by a fish many times his avatar's size. "You dare sneak attack me? You think you're worthy? Although you are longer than me, and your body is larger in terms of attack and defense, you're not worth a single blow." With that, Chenchu controlled the sea-maned lizard to turn and counterattack. A few minutes later, the large fish's corpse sank to the seabed. Chenchu controlled the sea-maned lizard to swim away with the black metal block, thinking, the taste of this spiny fish is not bad. A few hours later, at a spot on the coast, Chen Chu continuously punched a large rock, thinking, reef rocks washed by seawater year-round are extremely hard. There's no one around at night. It's a good time to test my strength. Although the action of force is reciprocal, my bone density is 20 times that of an ordinary person, plus the external aura reduces the impact. My hand only feels slightly sore. This slight soreness is quickly healed by my body's recovery ability. After the evolutions during this period, my physique has reached over 200. Although I haven't tested it, my punch carries a force of at least 3,000 jin, which is 1.5 tons. With the addition of the external aura using Bajiquan, I can easily punch through a human body with one fist. After a while, Chen Chu, drenched in sweat, lay on the ground and thought, the sandbag at home isn't enough anymore. I can't go to the park to train either. With information so developed now, I'm afraid of being filmed and having it posted online, which wouldn't be good. If the fact that I'm a superhuman gets exposed, it will be a lot of trouble. Only on a deserted coast with no one around can I train comfortably without restraint. It feels great. This amazing recovery ability. I've only used it for less than a minute, and the wound on my hand has already healed. At this moment, the sea-maned lizard also brought the black metal block ashore. Chen Chu saw it, and immediately went over to inspect the metal block, thinking, an irregular black ore emitting a metallic luster, but it doesn't look particularly special. The weight of this metal piece is nearly 200 grams. It's very heavy and solid. Even the sea-maned lizard's claws find it difficult to leave even a slight mark. It would probably be very suitable for making weapons, but with my current strength it would probably be very difficult to forge a suitable weapon. Next, let's deal with that gold first. The next morning, as soon as Chen Chu boarded the ship, he asked, "Where are the goods?" "Boss, they're all on the ship, all cleaned up." After speaking, Jiangshu led Chen Chu to the captain's room for him to inspect. Looking at the pile of gold, Jiangshu exclaimed, "How much money is this? I've never seen so many gold bars in my life." Chen Chu said, "The gold isn't imprinted with any characters. It was probably privately minted. It seems it can't be sold as antiques." An hour later in the market area, Chen Chu, carrying a backpack full of gold, walked into a gold shop. The receptionist saw him and bowed. "Hello, welcome." Chen Chu asked, "Excuse me, does your shop buy back gold?" The receptionist replied, "Yes, we have a buyback service. May I ask if you want to sell a ring or a necklace?" Chen Chu unzipped his backpack, showed the receptionist the inside, and said, "I want to dispose of this." The receptionist's eyes lit up. "Sir, you have too much gold. Please follow me upstairs. I'll take you to meet our general manager." A few minutes later, under the receptionist's guidance, Chen Chu met the general manager of the shop. The gold shop's general manager enthusiastically shook his hand and said, "Hello, I am the general manager of this gold shop. May I ask your surname, sir, and how much gold you wish to sell?" Chen Chu once again opened his backpack and said, "My surname is Chen. I want to sell this gold." The gold shop's general manager looked it over and said, "Mr. Chen, I need to have someone test the quality of the gold. Please wait a moment." Very quickly, the test results were out. The gold shop's general manager informed Chen Chu, "Mr. Chen, the total weight of your gold bars is 112,506 grams. Because it's not very pure and was privately minted, we will buy it back at 400 yuan per gram. Do you have any problem with that?" Chen Chu smiled and said, "All right." Not long after Chen Chu left the gold shop, he had an additional message on his phone. "Your account has received 45,000 yuan. Chen Chu thought to himself, "People my age are still struggling with their studies, but now the profit from one expedition can give me several hundred million. This gives me a strong sense of unreality. I should buy a car first. The undercarriage of this current car is too low, and it's very inconvenient on the bumpy roads by the sea." A little later, in a luxury car dealership, Chen Chu was following a salesperson to look at cars when he unexpectedly saw his ex-girlfriend Xiao Qing leaning into the chest of a brown-haired young man as they walked in. He thought to himself, "It's my ex-girlfriend. I spent a lot of my savings chasing her back then. She's always been a social climber and materialistic. After seeing something better, she'd be out singing and partying with rich second-generation kids day and night." Xiao Qing had also seen Chen Chu. She said to the brown-haired young man beside her, "Honey, that's the sycophant who used to chase me." Hearing this, the brown-haired young man looked at Chen Chu and sneered loudly. "A poor student. Why did you run to a place like this to look at cars?" Zhang Shu angrily shouted, "Who are you calling poor?" Chen Chu raised his hand to stop him and said, "Ignore him." Xiao Qing spoke up, "What, you can't even take it? Aren't you that poor student? Can you even afford anything here? Honey, let's ignore him and look at cars." After saying that, she pulled the brown-haired young man away. After choosing for a while, Xiao Qing pointed to a red car and said, "Honey, I like this one." The The brown-haired young man said, "This one? Let me take a look for you." In his mind, he was thinking, money is just for women to see. I only have a few tens of thousands in living expenses a month. How can I really buy a luxury car for you? On the other side, Chenchu was carefully observing a white car. The undercarriage of this car is high, and it can hold things. It can meet all my needs. Thinking this, Chenchu handed his card to the salesperson and said, "This one, swipe the card." The salesperson said, "All right, Mr. Chen, this car costs a total of 2.38 million yuan. May I ask if you'll be swiping your card or paying in one go?" Chenchu smiled and said, "One-time payment." Not far away, Xiaoqing heard this and was startled, exclaiming inwardly, "What? He wants to swipe his card to buy that car. That car is 2.38 million. The brown-haired young man walked over to her and said, "He's just putting on a show in front of you. I don't believe his card can pay 2.38 million all at once." Xiaoqing sneered, "That's right. To chase me back then, he even ate instant noodles for half a month." Then the brown-haired young man led Xiaoqing over to Chenchu and said, "A student is still a student. It's one thing to wander around a luxury car dealership, but you actually want to buy this car. Xiaoqing may be your ex-girlfriend, but you don't need to put on such an act. If the card can't pay, how embarrassing would that be?" Zhang Shu asked, "What's it to you? Can you afford it? What about you?" The brown-haired young man replied, "If you can afford it, I'll call you Dad on the spot. If you can't, you call me Dad once." Zhang Shu immediately agreed. "Deal," Xiaoqing sneered contemptuously. "Talking as if you can really swipe it, really penniless but still trying to show off." Just then the salesperson happily ran over and said to Chenchu, "Sir, here are your keys and your card. This car is now yours." Chenchu smiled and said, "Thank you." Zhang Shu looked smugly at Xiaoqing and the brown-haired young man. The brown-haired young man was flustered and thought, "He actually bought it. That's 2.38 million. Xiaoqing was astonished and thought, "Chenchu, how did he get so rich?" Zhang Shu walked over and grabbed the brown-haired young man's shirt, saying, "Shouldn't you fulfill your promise now? Call my boss Dad." Chenchu spoke up to Zhang Shu, referred to as Four Eyes in some earlier contexts, but clearly Zhang Shu here. No need to waste words on this kind of person. Hearing this, Zhang Shu released the brown-haired young man's shirt and said, "Our boss is kind. If this were my turf, let's see you try not calling him Dad today. I deal with you." Then he followed Chenchu into the car and left. Xiaoqing, snapping back to reality, hurriedly chased after the car, shouting, "Chenchu, Chenchu, listen to me! Listen to me!" The dealership staff, seeing this, whispered among themselves, "Thought we met a rich second generation, but ended up missing out on a truly potential player. Aren't you just like that? You only regret it after you lose it." Meanwhile, Chenchu drove Zhang Shu to Yunshang Tianwai Clouds Above Heaven, the restaurant with the best service and taste in City N. As soon as they sat down at the table, a waitress brought a menu and asked, "Sir, what would you like to order?" Chenchu looked and ordered a 5888 yuan lobster, a 7888 yuan king crab, and one of these. A little later, two beautiful girls were beside Chenchu, taking turns feeding him. Opening his mouth to receive the food, one girl offered. Chenchu sighed internally. "There's a reason it's so expensive. It truly is delicious. I've made so many meals for the sea-maned lizard. Now it's my turn to enjoy the life of the rich." Suddenly, Chenchu's phone vibrated. He immediately took it out to see. Instructor. There's 1 week left until school starts. Everyone remember to come to school on time. Don't forget the time. Jian Yuanzhong received. And Man King received. Zhu Jixiao. Yes, boss. Closing his phone, Chenchu thought, "I almost forgot I'm still a sophomore. After school starts, my time will be limited. I need to quickly earn more money and upgrade that little sea-maned lizard of mine. Breakthrough to the Dark Realm. A swordfish, the fastest swimming fish, has a top speed of 90 km/h. But the sea-maned lizard's current speed is faster than it. Thanks to this, the sea-maned lizard easily hunted another prey, adding 10 evolution points for itself. At this time, Chenchu used his talent to take control of the sea-maned lizard's body and began searching. He thought, fish is truly delicious. Now that I'm full, I should continue searching for treasures. My chi perception can spread out and sense things tens of kilometers away. Unfortunately, even after exploring the seabed, I haven't found any shipwrecks, several days without any harvest. The world is starting to mutate. I wonder if the state secretly has a superhuman organization. In general, after obtaining abilities, I need to act even more carefully and cautiously now." The next morning, Chenchu and Zhang Shu went to a skyscraper in City N. Since Zhang Changshu's company was transferred, I haven't come to see it. This is the most luxurious place in City N. Zhang Changshu really invested a lot in decorating the company, Chen Chu thought as he and Zhang Shu walked into the skyscraper and went to the Haiye Tianlan Oceanic Azure Company. The receptionist saw them and said, "Assistant Zhang, you're here." Zhang Shu said, "Xiaoning, tell everyone to come to the boss's office." Xiaoning replied, "Yes, sir." A little later in the boss's office, Zhang Shu looked at the employees in front of him, pointed at Chen Chu and announced, "This is the boss of our company, Chen Chu, Mr. Chen." The employees chimed in, "Hello, boss." Several female employees' eyes lit up as they looked at Chen Chu thinking, "So, he's the boss, so young, so handsome, and so rich." Zhang Shu continued with his work. He pointed to an orange-haired girl and introduced, "Boss, this is Ning Nixin." Ning Nixin said, "Hello, boss." At this moment, a girl brought coffee to Chen Chu and said, "Hello, boss, the coffee you wanted." Zhang Shu introduced her as well. "This is your secretary, Su Lengyu." Chen Chu nodded and said, Leave the coffee here." He continued to look at the report in his hand and thought, although it's a shell company, it seems to have everything. The monthly expenses to maintain the company are over 100,000. It seems I need to find more shipwreck treasures. And then he looked at Zhang Shu and said, "Zhang Shu, let's end the meeting here for now. Tell everyone to get back to work. You should also go back to the ship and keep an eye on things." Zhang Shu replied, "Yes, boss." When everyone had left, Chen Chu became serious and thought, the effect of mental control is stable, but subconscious hypnosis doesn't mean there are absolutely no problems. I still need to prevent them from having too much contact with the outside world. System notification. Your physique, plus 0.7. Your physique, plus 0.7. Chen Chu smiled and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. He took a sip of coffee and thought, this feeling of the avatar hunting while I lie still and get stronger is truly wonderful. Meanwhile, the sea-maned lizard avatar was tearing apart a newly hunted mullet. It thought, is this a mullet? But mullets are only about 2 meters long. This mullet is 4 to 5 meters long and its speed is astonishingly fast. Its teeth are also as hard as iron. If my external aura wasn't so strong, I might have been injured by it. Looking at the appearance of these mutated ferocious fish, there are more and more of them at the bottom of the sea. This meat is clearly different. It can provide more energy. Back with the main body, the system announced, your avatar through diligent devouring has gained 90 evolution points. Your physique, plus 9. Feeling the increase in his body's strength, Chen Chu clenched his fist and thought, there's a problem. That fish definitely has a problem. Now I feel like my muscles and bones have been strengthened. The degree of increase is 10 times what it was before. It's a pity that in such a large sea area there seems to be only one mutated fish. Elsewhere in the Haiye Tianlan office. Sister Leng Yu, do you think our boss has a girlfriend? What's wrong? Are you planning to pursue the boss? Xiao Ning, why are you starting to swoon again? The three girls Ning Nixin Su Leng Yu and a long-haired black-haired girl were chatting when Chen Chu walked over and asked, aren't you guys off work yet? Su Leng Yu spoke up. Hello, boss. We still have some unfinished business on our hands. Chen Chu thought, with my hearing, I already knew what they were whispering about when I was in the elevator. To avoid awkwardness, it's better to pretend I don't know. Then he opened his mouth and invited the three girls. Since everyone is working so hard, I'll treat everyone to dinner tonight. The three girls exclaimed joyfully, really, thank you, boss. That evening, Chen Chu took the three girls to the Yunshang Tianwai restaurant. Ning Nixin thought to herself, the boss's car is a luxury car worth over 2 million. It's amazing. The long-haired, black-haired girl looked around the restaurant and thought, the decoration is so luxurious. A little later, a banquet was laid out before the three girls. The waiter came to Chen Chu's side and said, sir, the total bill is 499,999 yuan. Chen Chu handed his card to the waiter and said, swipe it. The three girls were astonished and thought, which rich second-generation family is the boss from so extravagant? The boss treats gold like sand. Following such a boss definitely has a future. Chen Chu looked at the three girls and said, I still have things to deal with tonight. After dinner, I'll call a car to take you home. The three girls exclaimed, thank you, boss. At night, Chen Chu, as usual, went to the coast to practice. The sea breeze is so comfortable, it really calms one's mood. Late at night, the reef is deserted. During this time, I haven't given up on training. My physique is now over 20 times that of an ordinary person. My fist strength has also reached over 2 tons. Under the effect of the external aura, my strength is doubled. Now my fist strength is nearly 5 tons, but the greater the strength, the harder it is for me to control. Only through constant training can I get used to my strength. Just then, Chen Chu saw a boat moving towards the shore in the distance. It's so dark, and someone is coming to this remote place. Suspicious, he moved closer, hid behind a large rock, and observed. We've traded so many times, you still don't trust me. Big boss, the checks have been tight lately. Old rules, one hand delivers the money, the other delivers the goods. Boss, the goods are good, not bad goods. Happy cooperation. Happy cooperation. Hearing this dialogue, Chen Chu thought, it's a transaction of prohibited goods, but they all have guns. I have to be careful. A few minutes later, the transaction ended. The group on the boat carrying a suitcase of money set off to sea again. On the shore, only a group of 3 people remained holding a suitcase of prohibited goods. At this moment, the blonde-haired leader spoke. Old 7th Dad has been very strict recently. Be careful. The 2 underlings replied, Yes, boss. Boss, rest assured we all use one-way communication. If there's a problem with the goods, it can't be traced back to us. At this very moment, Chen Chu suddenly jumped down from a tree branch, chopped the neck of one underling with his hand, and simultaneously kicked the head of the other underling. In an instant, he had taken down 2 people. The terrified leader pulled out his gun intending to shoot, but Chen Chu had already rushed forward, delivering a hook punch and knocking him out as well. After dealing with the 3 people, a purple light flashed in Chen Chu's eyes. He looked out at the sea and said softly, These people lost their humanity long ago. This can be considered as ridding the people of a menace. Offshore, the sea-maned lizard avatar quickly approached the smuggler's boat. With a powerful ram, it broke the boat in 2. The smugglers fell into the sea because of this. They cried out, We've encountered a big fish, what's going on? When they fell into the sea, they saw the form of the sea-maned lizard avatar, so they hurriedly surfaced, trying to swim away, and screamed in terror. Monster! There's a monster! Help, help, run, run quickly! Boss, save me! Save me! The leader, seeing his underlings being dealt with one by the sea-maned lizard avatar, gritted his teeth and pulled out a pistol. Anyway, I can't escape. I'll risk it. I don't believe you can block my bullet. With that, he decisively fired a shot at the sea-maned lizard avatar's head, but it didn't cause any damage at all. The sea-maned lizard avatar glanced at the leader. The leader trembled and cried out, How is this possible? Then he was dealt with by the sea-maned lizard avatar. After dealing with all the smugglers, the sea-maned lizard avatar found the suitcase, held it in its mouth, and swam back to its main body. Sometime later in Chen Chu's room, he looked at the suitcase full of cash on the table and thought, 1 stack is 1 million. 300 million is 300 stacks. Having cash in front of you and numbers in a bank card gives a very different feeling. The next afternoon, in a certain coffee lounge, 2 young men looked at Su Lengyu and whispered, Your Danba is so beautiful. She has a noble and cold feeling. Meanwhile, Su Lengyu walked to the table where Chen Chu was sitting, presented a document, and said, Boss, please sign. Seeing this, the 2 young men at the next table thought, That person is her boss. He looks so young. Such a young boss. Here, Chen Chu stood up and said, Let's go. Go back to the company and inform everyone to have a meeting. The 2 young men at the next table watched them and thought, This young man is like a great mountain. This young man's aura is truly terrifying. A little later in the meeting room, Chen Chu pointed to the chart on the large screen and said, Do every detail well, and you will be meritorious officials of the company. As long as the company's KPI continues to rise, everyone will receive a big red envelope at the end of the year. At this moment, Chen Chu's phone vibrated. He took out his phone to answer. The person on the other end said, Chen Chu, it's the last day of school registration. You're the only one left in class. Chen Chu replied, Oh, sorry, I'll be right there. Hanging up the phone, Chen Chu said to everyone in the room, I have to go to school to register. If there's nothing else today, everyone can leave work early. Also, when I'm not here, Su Lengyu will be in charge of all company matters, big and small. After he left, Ning Naixin exclaimed, The boss is still a student. Another girl said, The boss has such a calm and stable aura. I thought he was a rich 2nd generation with a good upbringing. About an hour later at the parking lot of N University, as soon as Chen Chu drove into a parking spot, he attracted the attention of other students. They whispered, Oh my God, that's Chen Chu. He's a rich 2nd generation. This car is worth over 2 million. What, that car costs over 2 million? This incident quickly became a hot topic on the school forum. Top announcement, last day of enrollment. Students coming to register were surprised to find a new student who is tall, handsome, rich, and drives a car worth over 2 million. Comment section, is that Chen Chu? He got so handsome over the summer. So handsome, importantly driving a car worth over 2 million. His family assets must be over 1 billion. He's not a new student. He's a sophomore in the finance department. Well, starting this semester, he's a junior. His name is Chen Chu. In a girl's dormitory, the drunk blonde girl whom Chen Chu had helped on the pedestrian street the other day was also looking at the forum and said softly, "He looks so familiar, especially those clear black and white eyes, yet like sparkling stars radiating a sharp light. Finance department, I didn't expect him to be in the same grade as me." Meanwhile, Chen Chu was walking and thinking, "My physique and strength are increasing very quickly, but I only know Bajiquan, Shengyunzong, Rising Cloud Leap, and Tantui. I need to learn some new abilities to better manage and use my current strength." Then he looked at several people from the Taekwondo club practicing martial arts not far away and thought, putting on airs like that, one slap from me could shatter him. To control my strength, I still have to rely on myself and train more. Very quickly, Chen Chu finished registering. He immediately left the school and went to Longtang Steel. As soon as he met the receptionist, Chen Chu said, "I want to order a batch of steel estimated to be over 100 tons. The receptionist smiled, made an inviting gesture, and said, "Yes, sir. Please come to the VIP room first. I will contact the sales manager for you." A few minutes later in the VIP room, the sales manager entered warmly, shook Chen Chu's hand, and asked, "Hello, sir. May I ask what type of steel you would like to order?" Chen Chu replied, "A steel pillar 2 meters wide and 5 meters long. Also order several iron plates weighing 1 ton, 5 tons, 10 tons, and 20 tons respectively." The sales manager said, "Hello, sir. According to your requirements, the total weight is about 200 tons. The estimated price is over 700,000. The final price will be determined by the finished product." Chen Chu smiled and said, "All right, no problem. Let's sign the contract." The next morning, Zhang Shu led Chen Chu to Zhang Changshuo's simple port and said, "Boss, this whole area is your warehouse." Chen Chu said, "All right, Zhang Shu, you can go back first. I'll walk around here by myself." System notification. Your avatar, through diligent devouring, has gained 8 evolution points. Your physique, plus 0.8. Chen Chu thought to himself, Bright realm, dark realm, transformation realm, and above the transformation realm. Right now, I haven't even reached the transformation realm. My path is still very long. Then he began to walk around the warehouse area and thought, when the time comes, I'll place the steel pillar in the warehouse. This place will be my training ground. At most 100 evolution points a day. To evolve next time, I'll have to wait another month. Compared to the sea-maned lizard's progress, my body's progress is still too slow. Meanwhile, at the location where Chen Chu dealt with the 3 illegal goods buyers, many police officers were examining the scene. After a while, the preliminary results were out. Guanqing immediately went to the deputy chief's side to report, Luo Hao, a man named Hao who calls himself Boss Luo, has an entertainment bar and a dozen or so men under him. His right hand was severed by a hard object with extremely great force. Only a little skin was left connecting it. Tai Laosen Iron. Old 7th. The victim's chest suffered a strong impact. Internal organs ruptured, died on the spot. All 3 people died within a minute at the hands of the same person. The deputy chief spoke. Astonishing strength, swift action. Who on earth could do this? At this point, the walkie-talkie on his hip suddenly crackled. Captain, new bodies have been discovered at sea. Back with Chen Chu, he had returned to the Haiye Tianlan company. He was now lying comfortably on a chair listening to Su Leng Yue report. Boss, the company has no work every day. The employees are all playing. Don't we need to distribute some flyers or something? Chen Chu said. No need. Doing business is like fishing. Someone will voluntarily take the bait. Hearing this, a worried look appeared on Su Leng Yue's face. Although the boss is a rich second generation, if things go on like this, won't we really go bankrupt? Someone will voluntarily take the bait. But if we don't promote, who would proactively bring money to us? Just as she was thinking this, Ning Nixin shouted from outside the door. Boss, someone is looking for you, saying they want to discuss a business deal with you. Su Leng Yue was astonished and thought, is someone really proactively bringing money? A few minutes later, a young man in a white suit walked into the room. As soon as he entered, he looked around and asked, Where is Boss Zhang? Chen Chu spoke up. He and his men have all submitted to me. The young man in the white suit adjusted his clothes, looked at Chen Chu and smiled. Impressive to have subdued Boss Zhang. Let me introduce myself. My name is Wang Tianhe. Chen Chu smiled and said, So it's Boss Wang. Let's sit down and talk. Su Leng Yue spoke up. Boss, I'll go make 2 cups of tea for you both. Chen Chu nodded and said, Go ahead. At this time, Wang Tianhe spoke. Little brother, I have a shipwreck from several hundred years ago worth at least over 1 billion. Oh, can it be done? Chen Chu asked. After this batch of goods reaches Boss Wang, how do you plan to split it? Wang Tianhe replied, I provide the map. I get 7, you get 3. Even international teams only offer this price. Chen Chu said, then you should go find an international team. Wang Tianhe was silent for a few seconds, then asked, then how do you say we should split it? Chen Chu smiled and replied, at least 5. If you're not willing, then forget it. Wang Tianhe thought, now that the laws are comprehensive, I can't possibly salvage it myself. I can only rely on him. So he asked, are you sure you can bring it up? Chen Chu smiled, extended his hand and said, I have many people like Boss Zhang under me. If Boss Wang doesn't believe me, you can come along and see. Wang Tianhe shook hands with Chen Chu and smiled. 5-5, then 5-5. Happy cooperation. Chen Chu smiled and said, happy cooperation. Elsewhere in the police station in the deputy chief's office. Such exaggerated claw marks, but what creature has such large claws? Perhaps it's an abnormal creature. Thinking this, the deputy chief sat down at his computer, wrote a confidential document and sent it into the internal communication system. Meanwhile, Chen Chu had returned to Zhang Changshou's port because the batch of steel he ordered had arrived. Su Lengyue followed behind and asked, Boss, what is such a large iron pillar used for? Chen Chu replied, burying a sea-suppressing pillar at the seaport can suppress the 4 seas Dragon King and stabilize the 8 directions water veins. Su Lengyu thought to herself, the boss knows so much. Chen Chu took out his phone and checked his account balance. Seeing that there was still 321,800 yuan left, he thought, money really isn't enough. In a blink of an eye, only this little is left. Then, because it was getting dark, Chen Chu proactively offered to take Su Lengyu home. When they reached the gate of her residential complex, Su Lengyue got out of the car, smiled, and said, Boss, troubling you to take me home again. Would you like to come upstairs for a drink of water? Chen Chu said, no, I still have things to do later. Su Lengyu looked a little disappointed and said, oh, is that so? Watching Chen Chu's car drive away, she shyly thought to herself, why was I so bold to say such a thing? It seems my bra is still not put away. As for Chen Chu, while driving, he thought, just now when eating I accidentally broke the chopsticks. I still need to constantly practice control. This is the most important thing. At night, Chen Chu went to the coast again to punch and kick. When he was tired from punching, he closed his eyes, used his chi perception and thought, I must perfectly control and exert my strength. My externalized chi perception can now cover 30 kilometers. I can now sense the wind blowing the grass and any movement around me. 3 days later, after diligent cultivation, Chen Chu's chi perception experience, plus 15. With the enhancement of chi perception, his strength could increase many times over. At this time, at the bottom of the sea-maned lizard avatar was taking advantage of the time to hunt on one hand and swimming according to Wang Tianhe's boat on the other. When he saw Wang Tianhe's boat slowing down, Chen Chu guessed that they were about to reach the shipwreck location, so his main body called Wang Tianhe. Boss Wang, my other group of people has arrived. When do we start? Wang Tianhe said, such fast efficiency, I'll prepare a bit and we'll start tonight. Chen Chu said, all right. That night, Wang Tianhe called Chen Chu. Little brother, I don't see your other group of people anywhere. Chen Chu said, they're underwater. Just tell me the location. Wang Tianhe said, really? That impressive, 200 meters to the left of my boat, at a depth of 700-800 meters. Hearing this, the sea-maned lizard avatar immediately swam down to that location and thought, even with my physique, the water pressure is pressing down to a slightly uncomfortable degree. But it seems there's nothing here. So the main body reported back to Wang Tianhe, 800 meters deep, 200 meters around, there's nothing. Wang Tianhe said, checked so quickly, such high efficiency. He found it a bit hard to believe and thought, only 20-something minutes 700-800 meters deep, and it's all checked. How is that possible? At this time, his subordinate beside him reported, boss, after sinking for several hundred years, the position has shifted probably about 1,000 meters to the east. Hearing this, Wang Tianhe immediately reported back to Chen Chu. Sorry, little brother, 1,000 meters to the east, please take a look. The sea-maned lizard avatar immediately went over to check. As a result, relying on its key perception, it really did discover a shipwreck. A little later, all valuables were transported onto the boat. Wang Tianhe's subordinate took inventory and said, boss, there are 8 broken pieces and 3 complete ones, estimated at 30 million. If traded privately, it could add another 20 million. Wang Tianhe happily said into the walkie-talkie, did you hear that, little brother? That's roughly the situation. Chen Chu said, "You take care of the other matters. I only accept the money." A few days later, Wang Tianhe brought several suitcases of money to the meeting point. As soon as he saw Chen Chu, he had his men open the suitcases of money and said with a smile, "In total, it sold for over 200 million. Each person gets 100 million. You count it." Chen Chu smiled and said, "No need. I trust you." "Ha ha, little brother is an understanding person. Next time I have information about a shipwreck, I'll contact you again." With that, Wang Tianhe led his men away. Chen Chu, looking at the pile of cash in front of him, thought, "The problem of making money is solved. But my strength is still too weak. I must train to the point where sniper rifles and grenades are useless against me. Only then can I try some bolder things." The next day at Haye Tianlan Company, as soon as Chen Chu entered, the black-haired girl walked over with a CV and reported, "Boss, someone sent a CV yesterday. He says his monthly salary is 50,000 and he can guarantee 200 customers a month." "Let me see." After saying that, Chen Chu took the resume, glanced at a few lines, then immediately crumpled it up and said, "Get rid of it. He's a fraud." At this moment, Ning Nixin approached with a smile and asked, "Boss, why haven't you come to the company these past few days?" Chen Chu replied, "A few days ago, I took on a big order and casually made several tens of millions." Ning Nixin's eyes lit up, and she exclaimed, "Wow, boss, you're amazing." Chen Chu smiled, looked at her, and said, "Didn't I say before that if this order was completed, I'd treat you all to a meal? Tonight, I'll take you to Yunshang Tianwai to relax." Ning Nixin raised her hands high and cheered, "Boss is so handsome." The black-haired girl, looking at Chen Chu's retreating back, blushed and thought, "This job is really good. Light work, high salary, and the boss often treats us to meals. Unlike that friend of mine whose director at her company even wanted to have an under-the-table rule with her. If the boss wanted an under-the-table rule with me, would I agree or not?" That evening at Yunshang Tianwai, sitting at the banquet table, Ning Nixin said, "Boss, I didn't expect you to be so good at making money." The black-haired girl also said, chartering a boat to go fishing, and in just a few days, several tens of millions. Chen Chu laughed and said, "Just lucky. Caught a bluefin tuna. One fish is worth several 100,000. At this very moment, an orange-haired man walked over to their table, looked at Chen Chu and asked, "Excuse me, are you Boss Chen of Haye Tianlan?" He immediately introduced himself. "Hello, President Chen. I am Li Tianrui, Vice President of Tianhong Group and also a friend of Wang Tianhe." Chen Chu replied nonchalantly, "Hello." Tianrui got straight to the point. "President Chen, I want to go sea fishing. Are you interested in cooperating?" Chen Chu replied cheerfully, "As long as I can make money, I'm interested in everything. Come to my company tomorrow to talk." Leng Yu quickly leaned over. "Director Li, this is our boss's business card." Tianrui took the business card and said happily, "All right, President Chen, then we'll meet tomorrow." Xiao Hui, likely referring to Su Leng Yue or another female colleague, watched his retreating back and couldn't help but sigh. "I really didn't expect this person to be so young." Nixin beside her asked curiously, "Sister Xiao Hui, this group is very large, right?" She replied, "Their chairman has assets worth tens of billions, richer than even the richest person in City N. He has the same surname as the chairman of Tianhong, so he is very likely one of his descendants." Nixin couldn't help but marvel. "Tens of billions," Leng Yu continued. "Did I just meet the son of the richest man while having dinner?" Chen Chu, hearing everyone's discussion, couldn't help but find it a bit interesting. The son of the richest man is also interested in shipwrecks. The sea-maned lizard, Kai Nong, salamander, newt. But contextually still, the sea-maned lizard avatar under the sea was diligently catching fish. What a coincidence. I just finished talking to Xiao Ning about a fish worth over 10 million, and now I've actually caught it. Moreover, there are two of them. Late at night in the warehouse near the coast, the surroundings were extremely quiet. Chen Chu looked at his spoils and thought, "A fish worth over 10 million, but its meat tastes just ordinary. I did some calculations. This isn't fish. This is clearly money. Next, the only problem is finding a buyer for it." Scene changed to the next day. Chen Chu was practicing martial arts when Leng Yu called. "Boss, young Master Li has been waiting for you at the company for a long time." Chen Chu quickly replied, "I'll be right over." "This is Tianlan Maritime Company." The supercar quickly parked there. In a private room, Tianrui said, "Boss Chen, I have the exact location of the sunken ship." Chen Chu couldn't help but be surprised by the wealth of Tianhong Group. "Young Master Li is also interested in shipwrecks," he replied calmly. "Money who wouldn't want to earn it." Chen Chu began to negotiate. Then, after the goods arrive, 50-50. Tianrui generously replied, "No problem." He thought to himself, Looking at his appearance, it's clearly not just about the treasures on the ship. There's something strange. Chen Chu continued. By the way, Mr. Lee, do you know anyone who owns a high-end seafood restaurant? I have a 4-meter-long bluefin tuna here. Tianrui couldn't help but praise, President Chen is truly amazing, to be able to catch even a bluefin tuna. Tianrui continued. Actually, I have a seafood restaurant here. Let's have lunch together and I'll introduce you. So everyone went to the warehouse together. The other person, the restaurant manager, ran straight in as soon as they arrived. Chen Chu reminded, Manager Lin, don't worry, the fish there won't run away. The fish filleter happily reported, Boss, the quality of the fish is perfect. All aspects have reached grade A. Manager Lin observed and made an offer. Your fish is in prime condition. We are all friends. What do you think about a one-time price of 7 million? Chen Chu quickly agreed. All right, that price then. Leng Yu thought to herself, a fish can be sold for such a sky-high price of 7 million. Oh my God. Scene changed to Manhwa International Plaza, a bustling commercial center. Chen Chu said to her, Today's harvest was very good, so it's okay to be a little extravagant here. Len Ju was dazed. Manhwa International Plaza, a place that gathers all the top luxury goods. This place is considered extravagant and wasteful. The boss's money is really too easy to make. The staff, seeing Chen Chu take out his card to pay, rejoiced internally. A big customer scene change. At this time in the port warehouse, the surroundings were extremely quiet. After they both finished their shopping trip, Lang Yu exclaimed inwardly, Oh my God, a watch for the boss cost over 200, likely 200,000, or 2 million. Context implies a high value. He also bought me many luxury items which must also be over 2 million. Soon after he said to her, Long Yu, I want to buy a villa. Help me keep an eye out. It must be larger and wider. The location can be a bit remote because I like quiet. The price should be around 30 million. After hearing his requirements, she immediately replied, All right. Scene change. At this time under the sea-maned lizard was swimming deep below. The sea-maned lizard thought to itself, Unfortunately, my strength is insufficient. Otherwise, those 2 submarines would have been torn to shreds. Thinking of this, the sea-maned lizard continued to swim around to check further. Suddenly, it discovered something. Over there, it seems like there's something unpleasant. I should leave first. No need to take risks. It turned out that over there was a giant crab, its color a brilliant eye-catching red. As soon as the sea-maned lizard saw it raise its claw, it sneered inwardly. Provoking me is that easy. The crab immediately raised its claw to attack. The sea-maned lizard quickly swam to avoid it, gritting its teeth and thinking, it's much stronger than that mutated fish. Soon after, the sea-maned lizard immediately rammed itself into the nearby rock mountain, causing it to collapse. The sea-maned lizard thought, the force ejected by this monster is over 10 tons. Interesting. Immediately, a fierce force struck hard towards the crab, causing the water bubble to explode. The sea-maned lizard carefully observed the opponent. This guy can't be eaten all at once. I have to absorb it slowly. Meanwhile, Chen Chu was opening his laptop to monitor the situation of strange events at sea in recent years. Chen Chu couldn't help but be shocked. Giant hairtail fish, giant tiger-headed fish, and now I've encountered a giant spider. This world is changing terrifyingly. According to the information he updated, China's SSN-698 nuclear submarine went missing at a depth of 600 meters in the Pacific Ocean. The last message left was that it was attacked by an unknown giant creature. Another piece of news. Country E's nuclear submarine in the Arctic Ocean was hit by an underwater iceberg, causing 127 deaths. Chen Chu said to himself, all of this has happened in the past 2 years. And it seems that the deeper the water, the stronger these unknown biological monsters become. This crab's stats are also far superior to the giant fish. It's far beyond. Below, the sea-maned lizard hurriedly hugged the giant crab tightly. My body size has increased to 18 meters. Meanwhile, Chen Chu, while practicing, was calculating in his head. So my physique has improved by over 100. Now the strength of my bones and muscles has both improved to a new level. So even if I hit an iron pillar, I don't feel pain anymore. He looked at his hand. Even a pistol could probably only scratch my skin. Moreover, based on my external aura and reaction speed, ordinary bullets can't possibly hit me. Scene change. At this time in Xinhua bookstore, it seemed he was looking for something. Chen Chu, while concentrating on reading, thought. This world is not as simple as I thought. Studying and reading are always right. Over there, female students looked at him marveling and discussing, look so handsome. The 2 books Chen Chu was studying were Xing Yi Quan and Ba Ji Quan. Chen Chu said to himself, continuously learn. Only then can I constantly improve. At this time in the warehouse, his mind was still working continuously. Bajikwan and Xing Yi Quan looked simple, but to truly integrate and fully understand them had its difficulties. At the same time, his phone suddenly rang. The caller was Li Tianrui. Chen Chu quickly answered. Tianrui reported, "Boss Chen, we've arrived." He immediately replied, "All right, send me the location. My men will arrive in half a day." Time flew by and the deadline arrived. Down below, the sea-maned lizard was still exploring the treasure. Young Master Li asked him at the same time, "Boss Li, we've found gold and some broken pottery shards. Boss Chen, have you seen any special box? As long as we find that box, everything else on that sunken ship I can give to you." "I'll ask." The sea-maned lizard quickly picked up the box. "This pile of gold can be exchanged for 200,000 yuan. What about that special box?" Suddenly it looked at that thing. Chen Chu's thoughts echoed, "A pile of black mud. I really don't know what he wants." Following young Master Li's words, he quickly delivered the barrel full of mud to him. After seeing what was inside, Manager Lin couldn't help but be startled, his jaw dropping as he shouted, "How can this be my pills? My medicinal pills?" Meanwhile, the police were investigating. Just like the previous dead, all the blood in their bodies has disappeared, muscles withered as if they were air-dried. But the time of death was only 10 hours ago. We'll just wait for the higher-ups to investigate. Guande thought to himself, the deceased are all thugs with no relatives, but their bodies were healthy. Immediately after he said, Xiao Zhong, write a report later. Close all entertainment venues in the city. The other police officer quickly replied, "Yes, sir." Time quickly passed to midnight. Another person was drained of blood and the culprit still hadn't revealed themselves. When the case occurred, Guande was immediately informed. He couldn't help but shout angrily, "What? Clearly, everything has stopped operating. Why are there 4 more deaths? Over here, Chen Chu, while practicing thought. After several days of practice, both my Bajikwan and Xing Yi Quan have made significant breakthroughs. The system announced that he had to name the new move, and Chen Chu decided, then let's call it Crushing Fist. It's a combination of Bajikwan with the 8 extremes stance and Xing Yi Quan with the half-step Crushing Fist. Every step is a powerful punch as mighty as a heavy cannon." Over on this side, a large ship was hastily setting sail, following the current to fish. The boatman at this time couldn't help but be happy. "Oh, after chasing the school of fish for so long, I finally caught them. However, I still have to be careful. This time, the investment was too large. A fishing net cost several million. There can be no mistakes." A crew member hurriedly ran in to report, "Boss, there's a hole in the middle of the net. The fish are all escaping." He was startled and shouted, "Idiots, pull in the net immediately." The sonar clearly didn't detect anything. The crew member couldn't help but wonder, but the net couldn't be pulled up. "This is really troublesome, boss." Down below, the sea-maned lizard was greedily holding a mouthful of these fish while hugging an armful, thinking, "One go and I got several dozen. Food just delivered to my doorstep. This is so comfortable. With compatibility with the water attribute, even sonar equipment can't detect me at all. I've eaten and drunk my fill, time to go home." Looking at the tattered net, the captain couldn't help but be dumbfounded. "What on earth happened? My net is completely torn and all the fish have escaped. What kind of monster, what deity is behind this?" Scene change. At this time at the port, he was lying leisurely sunbathing. The person on the other end of the phone said, "Boss Chen, I've returned to City Inn. To express my gratitude, I'll take you to a wonderful place tonight." Chen Chu replied, "Since young Master Li is inviting, of course I have to go and see." Time quickly passed to evening. At this time, at a luxurious place called Mangluo Yage, a girl with a hot figure swayed out to welcome young Master Li and President Chen. He said enthusiastically, "Dian Yunxiao, no one has booked it right." The girl replied, "Dian Yunxiao is always reserved for young Master Li." Soon after, they quickly went in to enjoy the luxurious depravity inside Dian Yunxiao. Chen Chu was bored and thought, there's a reason why monarchs don't attend court early. Enjoying the atmosphere here for a bit is actually quite nice. After relaxing, he quickly drove into a deserted road. Chen Chu couldn't help but think, is something following me? This aura makes one feel very uncomfortable, like the feeling when that giant lizard was pushed into town that night. He smirked and looked behind him. Interesting demons and beasts. It's been a while since I moved my body. Those 2 guys in supercars sped past Chen Chu shouting, "Brother, want to race?" He calmly turned his head to look at them, his face showing disdain. Soon after, Chen Chu's car aggressively sped up and cut in front. He had successfully left the other 2 far behind. They couldn't help but stare dumbfoundedly at the smoke. "This maneuver is too fierce. Aren't you afraid of death? Heavens, is he even human?" Chen Chu chuckled to himself. "At this speed, even a Baoshi Chi can't keep up." How can that strange thing follow so closely? It seems the strength of this strange thing is not weak. At this time, Chenchu's car had stopped by the seashore. Chenchu said loudly, "Come out, I'm not a bad person." Immediately, a girl with no clothes on peeked her head out timidly. "Big brother, you speak interestingly. Just now I was bathing by the sea and my clothes were taken. Can you give me a set of clothes?" Chenchu immediately leaped forward. "Want clothes? Then I'll get them for you right now." And so he decisively punched hard towards her while she was still behind the tree. But she also quickly transformed, narrowly escaping the surprise attack. Chenchu couldn't help but be dumbfounded. The beautiful girl from before had instantly turned into a demon. "Such strong blood chi, I really want to eat you." Chenchu was surprised. "What are you?" She replied, "I am also human, just a more perfect human. My name is Yin Xiao. Eating you is equivalent to eating several hundred people with strong blood chi. This is enough for me to complete the first stage of evolution." After learning her origin, Chenchu quickly leaped up and attacked. With 2 sources of internal energy, he moved swiftly. "Want to eat me? Let's see if you have the ability." Yin Xiao was startled. "So fast." Immediately after, a loud explosion rang out, causing the surroundings to shake violently. Yin Xiao lay on the ground, not believing her eyes. How can this be? How can this be? He clearly doesn't have the aura of an awakened person. Soon after, he didn't stop but immediately struck hard at the dry tree trunk, causing it to break in 2. But Chenchu didn't stop there. He continuously struck all the coconut trees there. While striking, Chenchu observed. Yin Xiao confused with tree trunks and rocks, but every time I attack her attached body, her aura weakens a little. In just a moment, all the trees here were felled by him. Yin Xiao lay there. Chenchu looked at her, fusing with the dry tree. "This is indeed a very good life-saving skill, but it's a pity you met me. Answer a few of my questions and I'll give you a quick death." She laughed slyly and said, "Look at me like this. Do you think I'm still afraid of death? The moonlight is so beautiful. It's a pity I'll never see it again. It doesn't matter, I've already taken revenge. If you gave me another month, I could complete the shadow transformation. Even if a battle god came, then I wouldn't be afraid. But unfortunately, in such an ordinary city, I met a monster like you." As she said this, her body gradually dissipated. The system then displayed a notification. "Because you have eliminated a polluter, you have received 10 attribute points." Chenchu couldn't help but wonder, polluter attribute points. What are these? He looked at the system explanation, thinking to himself, I already have extraordinary strength. There will come a time when the monitor lizard can also come here. Suddenly, Chenchu's expression became happier. He smiled brightly, thinking of a brutal red-eyed beast. No need to breathe fire. Chenchu thought of becoming a real-life version of Gula. Scene change. At this time in the warehouse, the atmosphere around was still very quiet. Chenchu was pensively researching polluters and awakened people, but even Google couldn't display anything. The toolbar showed no information related to your search found. Chenchu stretched and thought, it seems the government has blocked this information. That's good too. My current strength is still too weak. I'll wait until I'm stronger before contacting that world. He secretly calculated. If my physique breaks through to 10,000. The system then displayed a notification panel. Chenchu had to choose an attribute to enhance. Because my current physique is not enough, I can only enhance one basic element. And Chenchu quickly chose to enhance the lightning element. Very quickly, the system announced that he had used the extraordinary ability enhancement point and received the ability to master lightning. Chenchu couldn't help but look with interest at the small bolt of lightning emanating from his 2 fingertips. A lightning-powered version. All right, I'll take it. Controlling lightning also has an experience note. It seems it can also be improved through practice. This isn't bad. Over here, the sea-maned lizard also seemed to be resonating with strength from him. Its tail immediately lit up. The sea-maned lizard was fighting another monster. Both rushed at each other frantically. Of course, the sea-maned lizard was still superior. While eating it, thought another mutated sea beast no less than that giant spider last time. The sea-maned lizard rolled its eyes. That lizard also has the ability to control lightning even stronger than mine. Scene change. At City N Airport, Guande was already there to welcome the distinguished guests. As soon as the person arrived, he hurriedly approached. Are you 2 comrades from the Special Affairs Bureau? I am Guande, responsible for receiving you 2. The other person also stepped forward to introduce himself. I am Huang Junfeng. Thank you for your cooperation this time. The other person stepped forward to introduce himself. Nangong Jian, the person in charge of case 907, take us to see the body. Immediately after they went to the laboratory, a dry skeleton lay there. Gwanda said, "This person died last night, and is the only one whose body was found. At the same time, 4 days before that, 4 people died bizarrely every night." Junfeng quickly channeled internal energy into the head of the corpse. A blue light in the shape of a woman quickly gathered. Gongjian also recognized it. He observed the woman's face for a long time, silently sensing. Then Gongjian briefly said, "The aura has been extinguished. Dead." Junfeng couldn't help but be surprised. What, already dead? In the warehouse, Chenchu continued to train and think. "My strength is increasing too fast. I fundamentally cannot control this kind of power. Now I don't even dare to go to Ning Nixon's house, afraid that if I sit down I'll collapse the sofa." He recalled when she had invited him, "Boss, would you like to come upstairs for a cup of tea?" But Chenchu quickly refused. "No, I still have things to do later." Returning to reality, he continued to suffer in his mind, even more afraid to get close to her. What if he accidentally broke her bones? The second day, the sales staff was introducing Mr. Chen. "This is villa number 88. The main building is 560 square meters with a front yard of 70 square meters. In addition, there is a backyard of over 200 square meters and a swimming pool of 80 square meters. The buyer will receive all furniture worth over 1 million upon full payment." Chen Chu spoke up. "The total price is 34 million, 25.5 million. If it's okay, I'll buy it." As he was taking out his phone to transfer the money, a voice suddenly exclaimed, "Boss, there's a monster, save me!" At this time, Gongjian and Junfeng stood high above, looking down at the city. Junfeng reported, "Captain, there has been no unusual information since last night. The polluter is indeed dead. But it's strange. It was in an ethereal state. This kind of strength cannot kill people, and ordinary people can't do anything to it either." He wondered, "Captain, why don't we stay and investigate further? It's a good opportunity to see the prosperity of this city." Gongjian said, "If you have time, then cultivate. Otherwise, when the apocalypse comes, you'll just be cannon fodder." Hearing this, Junfeng couldn't help but be startled. "The apocalypse impossible," Gongjian recounted. "The professor speculates that the next spatial fluctuations will be more than 10 times greater than 20 years ago. The top priority is to improve overall strength and wait for that day to come. Only in this way can we not waste the country's efforts in cultivating us." The sea-maned lizard over here discovered another treasure. Finally found something valuable. But the silt just brought up was too coarse and many porcelain pieces were broken. What a waste. After the sea-maned lizard brought the treasures back, Chenchu quickly listed a few antiques on a sales website. Chenchu was secretly overjoyed. "I've struck it rich. Song Dynasty items are worth several tens of millions, even hundreds of millions. It's a pity I accidentally damaged many items estimated to be worth hundreds of millions or more." Suddenly, a shout interrupted his thoughts. "What are you touching? What are you touching randomly?" That guy was thick-skinned. "Little girl, did you see it with your own eyes? Don't talk nonsense." He smirked. "But if you say I accidentally touched you, or should I touch you again?" The customer sitting next to him couldn't stand it. "Why are you so shameless? I saw everything," he shouted. "So what if you have the guts, come and hit me?" Chenchu immediately became indignant. "Very interesting. I've never seen such an arrogant person in my life." He laughed loudly. "Today you've met one. Not convinced? If you're not convinced, come and hit me." He looked at Chenchu mockingly. "If you have the guts, come and hit me." Another hot-blooded youth who only dares to move his mouth. Chenchu finally couldn't bear it anymore. He slammed his fists together and said to the staff, "Does your shop have cameras?" The female staff member was quick-witted. She quickly understood and pulled out the power cord. Then she said loudly to Chenchu, signaling, "Aya, our camera is broken." Hearing this, he immediately showed a sly smile while the other guy's face turned pale with fear. In just a moment, his face was swollen from Chenchu's punches. That pervert lay on the ground, foaming at the mouth. Immediately after, he contemptuously waved his hand, indicating that the man was dirty. Chenchu smiled brightly and said loudly, "Nowadays, why are there people who just like to be beaten? It's truly ridiculous." Scene change. At this time, in a house near the riverfront. He was again looking at the lightning on his hand, thinking, 100 years of human life compared to a star billions of years old is just like a fleeting moment. Chenchu secretly resolved, "One day I will break this limit of life and death." The second day, Chenchu said to Leng Yu, "Spend some time studying some accounting books. Later, the company's financial books will be handed over to you. Your salary will be doubled." Hearing this, Leng Yu couldn't help but be overjoyed and immediately agreed, All right, boss. Seeing Chen Chu get into the car, she couldn't help but wonder, but boss, where are we going next? He smiled lightly. Going to buy some special things. And so the two quickly arrived at a magnificent complex. A man dressed in traditional Chinese style stepped forward, smiled warmly, and introduced, "My surname is Gao. I am the owner of this antique shop." Chen Chu continued, "Trouble Mr. Gao to see how much this item is worth." He immediately received the distinguished guests. "Please come upstairs, you two. We can talk in more detail." This time the item he wanted to sell was an ancient plate placed in a box lined with red brocade. Mr. Gao touched it, then tasted it. He thought to himself, "It has the salty smell of seawater. It seems like it was just salvaged." Immediately after he said to Chen Chu, "Young man, this is a genuine item, but this is something that comes in a pair. You only have one piece, so the value won't be very high." Chen Chu couldn't help but look grim. "It actually comes in a pair. When I picked up this porcelain vase, there were many fragments around it. It's just a pity that only this one was intact." He showed regret. "That's truly a pity. If it's only this one piece, the most I can give you is 4.5 million. Chen Chu immediately took the item back. "All right, let me think about it some more." Immediately after they left. At this time on the street, Leng Yu said, "Boss, after going to so many shops, is boss Gao still the most realistic?" Chen Chu asked back. "Realistic? Is it just that the number he gave was the highest, or should I sell it to him?" He secretly recalled, "But there's something very wrong with this person's eyes. This person clearly has ulterior motives." Scene change. In the living room of a luxury villa, the other man spoke. "You said you found clues about the sunken ship." Mr. Gao fawningly handed over the item. "You see, this porcelain item has an official stamp on it. It's the batch we're looking for. Boss, this porcelain item was sold to me by a young man. He definitely knows the specific details." The man immediately ordered, "Send the information to Hu Li Fox. Within half an hour, I want all the information about this person." Mr. Gao quickly complied. In just a few minutes, his phone had a notification. He quickly read it aloud. "An ordinary university student suddenly bought a luxury car for 30,000 yuan. Likely a typo, should be much higher or a different currency, and even went abroad with Li Tianrui. Boss, are we planning to cooperate with the person behind him?" This man's name was Du Hong. His face couldn't help but show a sly smile as he repeated, "Cooperate." Soon after, Mr. Gao quickly met him to make a deal. He smiled happily and said, "Please fill in your information here. When it's time for the transaction or auction, we'll need your information." Chen Chu quickly replied, "All right." That night, he lay in bed unable to sleep, thinking, today's transaction was extremely smooth. Why do I always feel that there's something wrong with this boss Gao? I hope there won't be anything unusual about him. The next day, Chen Chu was in the elevator. He said to himself, "Nothing unusual last night. Was it because I was overthinking? Forget it. Let's just go to school and see." Chen Chu thought. "After digesting the sea python, the strength and density of my muscles have reached a level 50 to 60 times that of an ordinary person. I wonder if I can block bullets." Outside the elevator at this time, a person completely covered in clothes was waiting. As soon as Chen Chu came out, he immediately moved forward to control him. "Don't move. Don't make a sound. Follow me." As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately pointed the muzzle of his gun at Chen Chu's back to threaten him. Chen Chu was forced into a long car. There was a protective glass layer on the outside, making it impossible for anyone to see inside. In the car, he pretended to be scared and said, "I don't know where you gentlemen are taking me. I don't remember offending you." The driver spoke, "Taking you to meet someone, so be honest." Immediately after they arrived at the location, the other guy holding a gun to shoot Chen Chu said loudly, "Over here." Another one reported, "Boss, the person has been brought." The scar-faced boss sneered contemptuously, "Damn you! Let me see what kind of person you are to make me wait a whole night." Chen Chu at this time no longer pretended. He immediately straightened his back and asked disdainfully, "Why are there only a few of you like this?" The other guy was secretly bewildered. This brat was so scared just now. Why is he so calm now? It's a bit strange. The way he talks is a bit scary. The scar-faced boss stood up abruptly and fiercely ordered, "What are you still dazed for? Deal with him." As soon as he finished speaking, one of them rushed forward holding a gun and pointing it at him. But Chen Chu quickly leaped and kicked hard at the scar-faced man's face. Fresh blood quickly spurted out. That gun flew high up, then successfully landed right in Chen Chu's hand. They couldn't help but be startled and shouted, "Brat, put down the gun! Didn't you hear?" "Boss told you to put down the gun." The scar-faced man smirked. You only have one gun, but I have two. Besides, your gun only has one bullet. You little brat, you're surrounded by us. He calmly asked back. You guys still don't understand the situation. It should be said that you guys have been surrounded by me alone. Tell me who is behind you and I'll give you a quick death. Immediately, a loud gunshot rang out, creating a loud sound. Finally, he fired. The underling saw his boss get shot in the head and fall. He was startled and shouted, "Boss!" They then immediately said to each other, "His gun is out of bullets, kill him quickly!" Chenchu couldn't help but focus. He threw the gun away and channeled his internal energy. Soon after, Chenchu's hand had immediately caught the bullet. Those guys were momentarily dazed and scared. What the hell is that? How could he? Oh my God, monster! He's a monster! He even caught a bullet! He looked at the bullet in his hand and couldn't help but smile, smugly praising himself. So I'm already this strong. And just like that, in that abandoned warehouse, terrified screams rang out. Chenchu approached and said, "Go! Who told you to come?" The other guy cowered in a corner, trembling uncontrollably, and said it was the chairman of Longhua Group, Du Hong. The shop on the old street also belongs to him. He's currently at Villa number 3 Guangshan. On the ground at this time, the corpse of the boss from before still lay motionless. Chenchu quickly stepped forward and took the phone out of his pocket. He dialed a number from the contact list. "I am Chenchu. Du Hong right, I'll visit you tonight." Mr. Gao couldn't help but be startled. He's actually demanding 20 million. His audacity is truly not small. Du Hong quickly ordered, "Go prepare. This 20 million is enough to buy several dozen lives. Let's see if he has the ability to take the money." And then Chenchu immediately dashed off in the direction of Du Hong's house. His speed was like a car. Chenchu, while flying, gritted his teeth and thought. His physique and speed had reached 120 miles. At Du Hong's villa, he had stationed many guards armed with guns waiting for Chenchu. Mr. Gao was anxious. Boss, or perhaps that brat was scared and didn't dare to come. He speculated. He could kill 7 of Black Tiger's men, 3 of whom had guns. This brat is not simple. Speaking of this, Du Hong couldn't help but feel smug. I've nurtured over a dozen gunmen and dozens of loyal subordinates. Now it's time to see them perform a little. At this moment, a loud noise was heard at the villa, followed by a power outage. Those guards immediately became flustered and ran chaotically inside the room. They clamored, "Start the backup generator, the camera at the gate is broken. The opponent's speed is too fast." Du Hong angrily slammed the table and shouted, "No matter who it is, once you see them, just open fire. Don't worry about whether they live or die." Along the corridors, corpses were already scattered everywhere. All the security guards had been dealt with swiftly. The loud commotion outside made the people in the room extremely tense. They held their guns, waiting. The door to his room immediately opened, and the atmosphere became even more tense. As soon as Du Hong saw the door open, he immediately shouted, "As expected, you are an awakened one." Chenchu said nothing. He immediately leaped up and struck hard, taking down all those men. Only when he saw Chenchu's overwhelming aura did he Du Hong fearfully retreat and say loudly, 500 million. "Mr. Chen, can I buy our 2 lives for 500 million? Chenchu said coldly. "Indeed, it's tempting, but too many people have already died. I can't let you live anymore. Tell me about the awakened ones and I'll give you a quick death." Hearing this, Du Hong couldn't help but look at him in fear. He had broken out in a cold sweat without realizing it. Then he immediately recounted, "In 99, old Gao, myself, and a dozen brothers went to fight for territory. In 99, Hushan town. A man covered in flames fell from the sky, and immediately Hushan town turned into a sea of fire. The next day, this place became a lake, and the government named it Earth Sunken Lake." Hearing this, he immediately thought, "Awakened ones are truly powerful. Fortunately, I haven't wasted my time during this period." Seeing Chenchu distracted, Du Hong immediately picked up his gun and fired hard at Chenchu, shouting, "Die, you brat!" He contemptuously struck out, eliminating everyone within a few steps. "No matter how much wealth you possess, it's no different from an ant in my eyes." Immediately after, Chenchu quickly left. The police also arrived at this time. This place had long since become a sea of blood. An officer reported to Guande, "In total, there are 31 bodies, one of which is the chairman of Longhua Group." He speculated, "If I'm not mistaken, it must be Chenchu. Perhaps he was also the one who killed the group in the mangrove forest." Guande thought for a moment. The demonic land's fluctuations are abnormal. The second shockwave is about to arrive. I originally intended to give him a forced quota to enter the demonic land, but he is too ruthless and cold-blooded. His path is a bit mistaken. At this time, scene changed to the port warehouse. A small thing was neatly placed on a large plate. Chen Chu said to himself, "Half of the roasted chicken I left has disappeared. Moreover, there are still traces of grease. It seems the thing that came to my place last night was very unusual." At this time, the sea-maned lizard was underwater catching fish. It held a large fish in its mouth but was still greedy. "There's still more over there. Let's go see." At a depth of 1,200 meters under the sea-maned lizard thought, "This seems to be an active volcano. The atmospheric pressure at this depth makes me feel a bit uncomfortable." Scene change. It was now morning at the port warehouse. A figure followed behind him, sometimes visible, sometimes hidden. In that person's hand was a bag of fried chicken. Chen Chu quickly noticed. He hid around a corner of the wall and thought, "You can't escape." Chen Chu couldn't help but feel smug and immediately smirked, then launched a palm strike. Where Chen Chu struck it violently created a large explosion, sending earth and stones flying. But surprisingly, there was no one there. He also couldn't help but be surprised. Nothing at all. It just disappeared silently like that. What kind of ability is this? A dimensional rift, or an otherworldly passage, or something else? Suddenly, at the same time, the system sounded an alarm. Notification. Your body is being eroded by polluting energy. Notification. Due to your powerful body, you are immune, but after 5 hours, your body's resistance will be destroyed. Chen Chu couldn't help but be surprised. He immediately stepped into that space. This place is another world. Immediately at that doorway, Chen Chu saw a skinny figure there. As soon as it saw him, its eyes lit up. Then it quickly flew over as if wanting to eat Chen Chu alive. He immediately raised his fist, but also couldn't help wondering, a zombie or what kind of monster? It rushed forward. His palm strike immediately hit it hard, causing that monster to explode. Above the doorway on that wall, a line of words appeared, "Hushan Town welcomes you." He quickly walked into Hushan Town. This is the town Du Hong mentioned, the one that collapsed into a lake overnight. So Hushan Town wasn't destroyed by people, but was pulled into another world. Forget it. Let's go back first. This place is a bit unknown and dangerous. Busy looking around and observing, he didn't notice a little girl in a tree intently watching him. In the little girl's hand was a chicken. Then her face darkened, and she ferociously bit off a large piece of meat. Chen Chu channeled his internal energy. 2 attribute points, all enhanced, and lightning ability enhanced. Attribute points, lightning control ability experience plus 20, spiritual power plus 2. According to the information he found, Hushan Town was submerged. 180 people went missing and 30,000 people had to be evacuated. Chen Chu calculated to himself, over 30,000 people went missing along with Hushan Town. What if over 30,000 people all turned into demonic corpses? Then how many attribute points would that be? Immediately he picked up the phone and called, "Hello, Brother Lee. It's me. Please help me find out where the people who evacuated from Hushan Town 20 years ago are currently." The voice on the other end of the line rang out, "Hushan Town. All right. I'll bring you the news tomorrow." The second day, he requested from the management, "Build me a small steel room and make a large saber for decoration. The knife should be 2 meters long, thick, heavy, hard, and sharp." The manager, couldn't help but look distressed. "Boss Chen, forging the blade might be difficult because sabers are under state control." Chen Chu gave a wry smile and asked, "Manager Lee, do you think someone would kill people with a saber weighing 100 caddies and 2 meters long?" He laughed, sweating. Chen Chu secretly calculated. After all, demonic corpses are also strange creatures that can infect. Besides the saber and the iron house, I also need to get a suit of iron and steel armor. After that, he and Tian Rui quickly met at the seafood hotel. He reported, "Information from the survivors of Hushan Town is very chaotic. The government says it's stabilized, but I conducted a special investigation and found that there is no information at all." Soon after, on the way back, Chen Chu couldn't help but feel smug. As expected, just as I thought, over 30,000 people were all buried there. Under the sea-maned lizard continued to catch fish. It couldn't help but rejoice silently. "Today is a good day. I've caught over 40 fish. I'm still 300 evolution points short of completing the 3rd stage of evolution." Scene change. At a magnificent luxury villa, the architecture here was extremely vast. The agent quickly introduced, "This is the owner of the villa, Miss Lin Qingyi. Boss Chen truly has a good eye." Chen Chu was tense. "The money is all here. After Miss Lin finishes counting, we can start the procedures." Qingyi couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Over 20 million in cash. At this time, evolution points had also been added. The sea-maned lizard catching fish deep under the sea at 1,500 meters was beginning to evolve. It curled itself up surrounded by a ball of fire. At this moment, Chen-Chu and the sea-maned lizard had long since become one, so when it evolved, he also evolved. At this time, Chen-Chu became more sensitive. Even from hundreds of meters away, the sound of ants carrying food could be clearly heard. He continued to listen. 300 meters away, the patrolling guard was complaining about life. Chen-Chu's strength and speed had doubled, but he could still easily control it. His level had risen to the Earth stage. His physical strength had increased to 1,000, and his spiritual power had also increased to 200. System notification. Talent water compatibility. Fire breath lightning control. Fire breath lightning. He secretly speculated. This new ability was probably obtained when eating those mutated tiger fish. Thinking of it, Chen-Chu recalled from the sea-maned lizard's memory that its body had grown to 40 meters long. This was no longer a giant lizard, this was clearly Godzilla. But the energy in its body was still too weak. The power of its fire breath was also very ordinary. As soon as it saw those blood-red eyes, the sea-maned lizard realized there was a huge fellow below it. The sea-maned lizard calmly opened its mouth and assessed, this guy with just one bite, an aircraft carrier, could be bitten to pieces. Not bad strength. While tearing it said, but it's just not bad. The sea-maned lizard quickly carried away its spoils. This tigerfish species brings over 2,000 evolution points and also has a lot of scorching energy. This cave is the habitat of the giant tigerfish species. Reaching a nearby place as if having seen something terrifying, the sea-maned lizard immediately dropped the bait in its mouth. Seeing the scene before it, it thought, so terrifying. It actually gives me an inexplicable sense of fear. It seems there's something in this skull. The energy in my body is boiling. According to the system, the sea-maned lizard could absorb this thing, but it couldn't help wondering, can it still be absorbed? At this moment, the sea-maned lizard's body suddenly lit up. The system immediately displayed a notification. Your avatar has absorbed an ancient element, achieved super evolution, and is absorbing the power of crimson flame. The sea-maned lizard opened its large mouth, then immediately condensed its power. That stream of power then shot out, creating a massive, shocking explosion. It couldn't help but sigh internally. Such powerful might. With just one breath of energy, an entire island disappeared. Scene change. At this time in the warehouse, Chen-Chu observed with satisfaction. This knife weighs 200 caddies, very handy. Then let's call you Kangtian Ba Dao Azure Sky Tyrant Saber. A 2-meter saber plus titanium armor. This titanium alloy armor is also very good and very flexible. Chen-Chu smiled lightly and looked over. After evolution, my chi perception can already sense her presence. I just didn't expect it to be a little girl. Is she a survivor from Hoodoo Town with superpowers, or is she also a monster? As soon as it got dark, he immediately went to the town. Chen-Chu looked at the crowd standing in front of him and couldn't help but marvel. At night, Hoodoo Town starts to get lively, huh? He immediately wielded the saber and slashed hard at the horde of zombies, simultaneously strengthening the weapon Kangtian Ba Dao. Immediately, its hardness and sharpness quickly improved. While slaughtering on this side, a large monster with blood-red eyes appeared. It lunged straight at him. Chen-Chu smirked and looked over, unable to help but praise such fast speed. But at this time, Chen-Chu had also eliminated quite a few. Corpses lay strewn in front. Chen-Chu looked at his weapon and calculated. Armor and Tyrant Saber received an additional 5 points. Soon after, 2 figures quickly approached him. Chen-Chu didn't say much and immediately rushed forward, slashing hard at them. Fresh blood continuously gushed out. When he landed, the system was also continuously adding achievement points. Chen-Chu quickly sensed that the newcomer was a large fellow. Good. The attribute points have all been added. Let's try some practice. The giant and Chen-Chu were exchanging blows. Neither was willing to back down. He immediately flew far away after that close combat. Chen-Chu thought, such great strength. So it's not less than me at all, but its speed is slow. If that's the case, then I'm not playing anymore. Immediately after, he swung a saber at it while simultaneously leaping far away. Only when the system announced it did Chen-Chu realize it was actually level 5. No wonder its strength and defense are so astonishing. It took more than 10 slashes to kill it. I'm just missing a killing move that can one-shot. From the other side, a clear voice rang out, warning, "Run! Run!" Chen-Chu thought, that little girl, the one who stole my roasted chicken, is actually telling me to run. But there's no malice in her eyes. He approached her, patted her head gently, and said, "Your name is Jixi, right? My name is Chen-Chu. From now on, you'll be my little sister. I'll protect you well." Let's go, Chichi. I'll take you home and buy you new clothes. And so Chenchu gained a little sister. From now on, he was no longer alone. In the car, Chenchu couldn't help but ask, Zichi, that dark tide that engulfed the earth. What is it? Do you know? The little girl looking at the unfamiliar scenery stammered, That's the black tide. Chichi doesn't know either, but it's dangerous. Chenchu took her to a shopping mall. Chichi was now wearing a white dress and clean shoes. She was as beautiful as a princess. Chenchu pointed to the pile of food on the table and said, Shopping's done. Now let's eat. As soon as Chichi saw the food, she couldn't help but run over. While eating fried chicken, he thought, in the previous battle, the external aura covered my entire body, and the energy of the crimson flame accumulated in my body, then burst out with great force. This can be considered a killing blow. 80 attribute points, all enhancing my external aura. I've broken through to intermediate level. My strength has increased by at least 3 times. Jixi looked at him in amazement. Scene change. At this time in the teaching building of Ning University, a group of people were gathered doing something. The boy with glasses was excited. The place we're training this time, I heard that after finishing we'll reach at least the rank of 2nd lieutenant. The blonde-haired boy couldn't help but wonder, 2nd lieutenant military rank. The girl also chimed in, Do you guys think we've been targeted by some mysterious department? At the same time, someone from outside entered and replied, That's right, the city has established a special department. After completing the training course, you will be conferred the military rank of 2nd lieutenant. But after training, there will be many different dangerous missions. Will you choose to participate or give up? The whole group was excited. I agreed to join. At this time in the warehouse, Chenchu was still training hard. He diligently punched the sandbag. Chenchu said to himself, The external aura gathers the power of the crimson flame in the body and then bursts out. This is my killing blow. This punch also weighs at least 150 tons. This attack is called Absolute Flame. Is 100 punches the limit? If I encounter that demonic corpse again, I can take it down with just 3 punches. At this time in the flower garden of Ning University, the air here was extremely fresh. The girl sitting in the car inadvertently saw him pass by and couldn't help but marvel. That person is so handsome. That car is not cheap at all. Her friend behind her casually assessed, Clearly he's a promiscuous rich 2nd generation. Roya immediately shouted, You're not allowed to talk about him like that. The 4-eyed friend was surprised. Roya, why are you defending him? The person sitting in front recounted, Because a month ago he rescued Lin Roya from 4 kidnappers. The blonde-haired boy sneered. That guy who looks like a pretty boy. How could he save someone from 4 kidnappers? Glasses couldn't help but be indignant. Kidnapping? Those people are really toying with life. The other girl admired him even more. Is he that amazing? Today, Chenchu decided to take Jichi to the park. The two of them sat quietly observing the crowd passing by. Down below, the sea-maned lizard was diving deep into the sea. A ship passed by at the same time. It thought, So the ship is full of kangaroos. The logic of these thieves. No wonder. It's a good time to test the strength of my lizard sword. The sailors on the ship were in an uproar. Sonar has detected a large creature approaching 100 meters away. A large object is heading towards us very fast. Big trouble, it's about to hit us. At this moment, the sea-maned lizard's claws fiercely scratched the ship's hull. A large amount of water quickly flooded in. The 2 rear cabins are severely damaged and are starting to flood. The sonar equipment is also damaged. The captain shouted, Close the valves quickly to prevent backflow. Activate multi-beam sonar mode, lock target by direction and map the surrounding area. The sailor reported in fear. Captain, it's a long, narrow creature over 40 meters long, bigger than a blue whale. He couldn't believe his ears. How can there be such a large creature in the world? Even blue whales are only over 30 meters long. Hurry up close, the rear of the ship. Surface quickly. The ship is severely flooded and it's still under attack. Launch torpedoes immediately. Maximum speed and surface with all your might. Seeing the ship in such chaos, the sea-maned lizard couldn't help but feel happy. What's wrong? It swam far away. My speed has reached 200 km/h and the torpedoes can't catch up. The fun game has only just begun. From a distance, that large ship was disoriented, sailing straight ahead soullessly. The sea-maned lizard used its strength to embrace that ship. Then it lunged at the explosives. Immediately, the ship exploded, and of course everyone on board was no longer breathing. The sea-maned lizard stood observing and thought, The force of the torpedo explosion still makes me feel uncomfortable. If I were hit directly, I would definitely be injured. It seems I still need to continue increasing my strength. Scene change. At the dance party, the stage dancer was gracefully performing her moves. The young man below couldn't help but be excited. She is a freshman in the foreign languages department and one of the 4 beauties of Shinpu University. And this is Du Qiantian with her unique peacock dance. Chenchu looked and immediately recognized her. He smiled faintly. So it's her. Jishi, standing below, couldn't help but exclaim, "So beautiful." After the dance ended, her hair also fell loose, a beautiful golden color. She was still performing. Suddenly someone stepped up from behind her. The young man holding a bouquet of flowers approached. "Qiantian, the first time I met you, I was captivated by you. Will you be my girlfriend?" She couldn't help but feel embarrassed. "What's going on? I'm performing. Go down." The people below were in an uproar. "What era is this, still playing this kind of game? Don't lose face there." Qiantian spoke up. "Senior, the audience below won't let me agree to you. Besides, I don't like you either." After the gala ended, Qiantian approached him. "Senior, do you still recognize me?" Everyone couldn't help but be surprised and whisper, "The campus bell is actually waiting for him." She stepped forward and reminded, "Last month you called the police to save a girl who was drugged." Chenchu immediately remembered. "I have an impression. So, why are you looking for me?" Hearing this, Qiantian couldn't help but blush. She stammered, "Well..." Chenchu scratched his head and smiled brightly. "If there's nothing else, I'll go first. See you later." As soon as he left, she secretly assessed with satisfaction, "That car is worth more than 2 million. The shoes he's wearing are Gucci, costing more than 30,000 a pair. This is the style of a true rich second generation, unlike that Wei Zian." Over here, Chenchu had already put on his armor and carried his saber to a deep place. He recalled, according to Jichi, that he needed to find a cave before the black tide arrived. Everything on the ground will disappear. A cave 30 meters deep, about 4 or 5 meters wide and high. Good. Just as he entered, he had already eliminated a level 2 mutated bone spear demonic corpse. Its corpse lay frozen on the ground. Next is the level 3 mutated bone spear demonic corpse. This is a corpse that is as hot as fire all over. Chenchu couldn't help but be surprised. Demonic corpses have actually evolved fire abilities. No wonder I feel a bit uncomfortable because it's scorching hot. System, can you reinforce my clothes with more magic resistance? He approached it and observed. Super-grade magic armor is almost immune to ordinary flames. Over here, the sea-maned lizard secretly calculated, there aren't many fish in the deep Pacific Ocean, so it's very difficult to find mutated fish. Instead, it's better to hunt fish in human fishing grounds. In a certain bay, the sea-maned lizard couldn't help but be happy. About 20 of these fish are equivalent to the amount of fish I catch in half a day in the water. Over here, Chenchu was fighting hard. He gritted his teeth and thought, such fast speed, it has actually broken the sound barrier. Over here, as soon as the demonic corpse saw him, it lunged forward hungrily. The fresh taste of humans. Chenchu couldn't help but think for a moment. This demonic corpse's saber technique is actually so exquisite. He calculated, when it swings its saber, its arm trembles twice, and the trajectory of the blade also changes. Immediately after, Chenchu crouched down. Learned it? It's time to end this. As soon as he finished speaking, he quickly rushed forward. The demonic corpse looked on in amazement. At the same time, from its chest, an extremely demonic face appeared. Those eyes were blood red, staring straight at him. Immediately, that face blew out a large flame. Chenchu was startled and held his sword in front of him. He looked seriously straight at it and said, "Absolute flame." As soon as Chenchu said this, that face was momentarily dazed. It seemed like it didn't understand what he wanted to do. But of course, he didn't give it a chance to understand. The long saber slashed fiercely, and immediately it couldn't bear it, and died. And this reward was that he had obtained an elemental fusion core. Chenchu's sword suddenly showed a heart shape. Kangtian Badao has fused with an encrypted material. Chenchu quickly tested the new power of the saber. He swept it powerfully. The effect it produced delighted him. It can actually transform the energy of crimson flame and lightning into saber chi and shoot it out. Scene change. At this time, on the other side of the small town, Chenchu was stalking another monster. He thought, transformed into a demon. Forget it. This forest is too quiet, a bit eerie. Let's go back first. In the warehouse, as soon as he returned, the little girl happily came out to greet him. Chenchu, help me close the door. He couldn't help but be surprised. Zixi can actually close an invisible door. Is this related to spatial power? This kid is more mysterious than I thought. It's better to close it to prevent demonic corpses from escaping when I'm not here. At this time, the system had detected a storage space. It could be exchanged for 10 attribute points, and of course, he quickly exchanged it. Chenchu held the spear in his hand. It actually knows what I need. Just when I was about to complain about the inconvenience of carrying and storing it, it gave me more space to store. Down below, the sea-maned lizard, while swimming, thought, in just 3 hours, my body has grown by 1.5 or 6 meters. I've earned over 500 evolution points. Human farming areas are indeed much more bountiful. Above, the fisherman couldn't help but be surprised when that fish died. Yamada-kun, look what happened to the tuna. Strange, not enough oxygen. They saw it bleeding its corpse floating limply and were startled. Oh no, there's blood in the sea. Something happened to the tuna. Immediately after, the sea-maned lizard violently thrashed its tail, causing everything to fall into ruin. At this time at the villa, Chenchu calculated there are still over 100 attribute points left. It's time to improve in all aspects. He leaped up. My chi perception and sensory ability have increased from 100 meters to 1 kilometer moonstep, can even allow temporary flight by stepping on air. After Chenchu returned, he combed Jixi's hair. At this time, the news announced that a terrifying black fog had appeared in Tesla City in northern Europe, covering the city for hundreds of kilometers and causing more than 50 people to go missing. Hearing this, Chenchu couldn't stop thinking. Black fog. It's very similar to the black tide in Hushan town. It seems this peaceful world can't last much longer. Over here in the sea area of Okumachi Island, a large, long ship quickly skimmed across the sea surface. A lion man stepped forward. Sugimoto-kun, has Professor C's research made any progress? He glanced over and said, the professor has extracted a super gene from the giant beast, and furthermore, we have found a way to revive this monster. The lion man couldn't help but wonder, super gene. This means superhumans can be mass-produced, right? The doctor replied, not only that, but super giant beasts will also be under our control. At the same time, the other two quickly stepped up from the ship and said, Professor, the conversion of micronuclear energy has been completed. The other person continued, take us to the location immediately. They were holding a huge giant beast inside a glass cage. Its chest was even pierced by a long sword. Soon after, the technical staff quickly reported, the electrical circuit installation is complete. The nuclear electrical energy has been connected. The professor couldn't help but be satisfied. Nuclear energy will be transmitted into the giant beast's body, and the giant beast will revive. It's smart enough to know that the electrical circuit will kill it, so it will honestly lie down and submit to our control. Sugimoto flattered. Professor, you are truly an outstanding professor, even superior to Einstein? Gazing at his creation, the giant beast was still motionless in the glass cabinet. He laughed loudly. Success! The giant beast is about to revive. All of this was seen by the sea-maned lizard. It thought contemptuously, these people actually want to revive that giant beast. They truly deserve to die. Soon after, the sea-maned lizard decided to stop this. It no longer hid but revealed itself. As soon as Kan saw the sea-maned lizard, he shouted, it's a giant beast! Everyone stop it, otherwise we'll all die. Shooters, fire! Ken immediately shouted in panic. Sugimoto, let's go quickly down to the submarine. Over here, the security team continuously fired at it. One of them even used a bomb and threw it over. The doctor at this time was hurriedly running. Those attacks seemed to have no effect on the sea-maned lizard. It still stood there calmly. Not only that, at this time, the sea-maned lizard began to destroy everything around here, startling Suhoto. The sea-maned lizard's face aggressively peeked out from behind the smoke. It glared at the group of people. They fought so hard, yet it didn't even lose a single scale. The guards couldn't help but be startled. That's a 24mm armor-piercing bullet, and there are even missiles. This equipment could be used to start a small-scale war. The sea-maned lizard thought contemptuously, so this is the so-called combat power of those superhumans. Soon after, it opened its large mouth and roared. The group of people felt as if their bodies were about to break and immediately spat out blood. The doctor and Sugimoto, frightened, hid behind large rocks. Over there, the sea-maned lizard continued to wreak havoc. Suddenly, it glanced at the two leaders and thought contemptuously, want to run. But on the other side, a loud explosion simultaneously rang out. The sea-maned lizard frowned and observed. Inside the test tube, that giant beast showed signs of movement. The sea-maned lizard, facing this kind of internal energy, couldn't help but be startled. It actually awakened such a terrifying aura. The sea-maned lizard's inner voice rang out, stay away, stay far away, then kill it. Immediately, the sea-maned lizard channeled its internal energy, opened its mouth wide, and launched an attack. That giant beast being ambushed like this couldn't help but be startled. I've just been revived. My flesh and blood are still not strong enough, don't. The system quickly announced, damaged ancient gene detected, do you want to absorb them? The sea-maned lizard couldn't help but wonder, damaged all right, absorb it. Chenchu was sitting at a coffee shop with Shixi. He thought with a dark face, after absorbing damaged genes, I can get stronger just by lying down. The little girl was still naively gobbling down food. So delicious. At the same time, Chenchu's phone immediately rang. Chantian sent a text message. Brother, are you free tomorrow? Let's have dinner together. Chenchu immediately agreed and replied, okay, I'll pick you up at 11 tomorrow. At this time, inside the teleportation, Chenchu somersaulted and thought, so powerful. Even an armed tank could be torn apart by these blades. A level 4 demonic creature was successfully killed by me. Just like that, its body severed. Chenchu couldn't help but wonder. Only level 4, I thought it would be at least level 5. At this moment, a strange wave appeared in his mind. Chenchu thought, I can sense it. Over here, another large monster continued to slither towards him. Chenchu wasn't afraid to confront it. He stepped forward and delivered a powerful blow. Chenchu secretly calculated, it can actually damage my super-grade magic armor 50 attribute points to enhance the magic armor. And just like that, the giant worm was immediately sent flying into the air. Where he stood, a large explosion even occurred. Chenchu rushed up to attack it head-on, but from within the monster a protective barrier was created. He thought, it actually has an energy shield if that's the case. Thinking this, he fiercely gripped the saber and slashed hard, severing its body. Absolute Flame. You have killed a level 6 demon, received 200 attribute points. Chenchu was satisfied. 100 attribute points to enhance the external aura. 100 attribute points to enhance Crimson Flame. The temperature of the flame on the saber increased from 3,000 to 10,000. He looked into the distance. The attack range of the saber chi has reached 30 meters. That dragonfly just one knife killed a little friend. After returning home, he still secretly calculated. Strength added to the external aura killing move has Absolute Flame. Long range move has Crimson Flame. Saber key sensory perception has Key Perception. In addition, there are also various magic armors and Tyrant Saber enchantments. Chenchu channeled his internal energy. Next is to practice Crushing Fist Cloud Stepping Stance and Lightning Control. 2 days later, everyone couldn't help but buzz. Isn't that the campus belle Situ Chiantian? Even the campus belle can't resist the temptation of luxury cars, huh? Since when did the atmosphere at Ning University become so bad? Down here, Chiantian smiled happily. Senior, what would you like to eat, my treat? Chenchu said, let's go eat seafood. The two soon arrived at the restaurant. He chose the menu wildflower lobster, 4 caddies, 2 portions of baolong abalone pressed. Chiantian was dazed and silently lamented, just ordering is already over 70,000. This in my budget I only have 10,000. My 3 months living expenses are all gone. She stammered, Senior, I only brought 10,000. Can you lend me some later? I'll pay you back. Chenchu was cheerful. No problem, the bill is already paid. Just eat with peace of mind. Chiantian couldn't hide her admiration. Senior, you started your own maritime shipping company. That's so amazing. I heard you rarely come to school. It turns out you're busy with your career. Men who are busy with their careers are the most attractive. He replied, not really. The reason I don't go to school is because I'm busy killing monsters and leveling up. Besides, I don't have time to manage the company. She was dazed. Huh. Killing monsters and leveling up? Is that a game? As soon as she saw the food, Chiantian was secretly overjoyed. This crab is so big. Suddenly looking at the platter of food, he felt unhappy. If the apocalypse happens, I don't know if such prosperity will still exist. Scene change. At this time in a luxury shopping mall, Chenchu and Chiantian walked together. She blushed secretly, thinking, he said after eating we'd go shopping, but it's to buy. A meal cost 80,000, and then casually buying clothes for over 30,000. Oh my god, my monthly living expenses of 2,000 yuan are not even equal to one of his buttons. Chenchu casually pulled her hand. Let's go, let's buy some clothes for you too. Chiantian's heart was screaming, why is he pulling my hand? He won't think I'm a casual girl, will he? Oh my god. After the two had shopped comfortably for a while, Chenchu generously said, wrap everything up for me. Swiping the card. The cashier immediately recognized her. Last time it was a very beautiful female student, but within a month she was replaced by a much more beautiful girl. Chiantian couldn't help but be secretly surprised when she carried all the designer goods. Oh my God. On our first meeting, he bought me clothes worth over 300,000. Is this spending money like water? She looked at Chenchu, couldn't help but feel flustered, and thought, next will he take me to a hotel? What should I do? At the same time, in a nearby gym, a stream of dark green light suddenly appeared, causing passers-by to panic. Chenchu quickly closed his eyes and sensed it through the ultrasonic waves in his brain. Before she could withdraw her thoughts, he hurriedly said, I have urgent matters to deal with now, so I'll take you back to school. She wondered blankly, doesn't he have any intentions towards me? No. Maybe he wants things to happen naturally. Am I overthinking? Chenchu at this time had no time to pay attention to the beauty. He secretly calculated, I feel a spatial rift nearby. It's a bit strange. A little later, Chenchu followed his judgment to the gym. Inside, it was already stained red with blood. Chenchu had to accept it. But this is the real world, yet the aura of polluting energy has actually appeared. Soon after, he chased after it for a long time. Finally, the two confronted each other. The black monster couldn't help but be annoyed. So you found me. Then please die. As soon as it finished speaking, the monster also rushed to attack. Chenchu immediately launched a kick. Its body then immediately exploded. The system immediately announced, you have killed a low-level polluting monster, received 5 attribute points. Chenchu thought, as expected, it's just pollution, not demonization, just like Yin Xiao last time. The monster's corpse lay splayed on the ground. After discovering it, the police quickly arrived and cordoned off the area for investigation. Guande was a little regretful. I originally wanted to use this polluter to test the results of half a month of arduous training for you awakened ones. Yet someone beat me to it and killed it. It seems this superpowered person has a fire-type ability. He couldn't help but be surprised. Since when did City N have a fire-type superpower? At this time, Chenchu was at home watching the news on TV. Today, hundreds of spatial rifts have appeared all over the world. Unfortunately, I have to tell everyone that the apocalypse has become a reality. Chenchu said to himself, so, the 99 apocalypse has arrived. In the past 20 years, the number of deaths on the apocalyptic battlefield has reached 500,000. More than 20 years of peace were built with the blood of soldiers. Moreover, we have now entered the era of global evolution. Everyone has the potential to become a superhuman. He looked at his phone and thought, this publicly available information is just a summary and not comprehensive enough. As for news about the apocalypse, if I want to get more comprehensive internal information about the apocalypse, I need to report to the Special City Bureau. At the same time, underwater, the sea-maned lizard was fighting a giant mutated fish. The sea-maned lizard's body was suddenly pinned down. It looked over and knew that this fish could actually turn seawater into heavy water. However, it's useless against me. Thinking this, it continued to advance. The sea-maned lizard then immediately launched an attack towards the whale. The fish writhed in pain frantically. The sea-maned lizard greedily thought, if I eat this giant whale, I'm afraid I can increase my evolution points by at least 10,000. At the branch of the Special City Bureau, everyone was buzzing with discussion. The guy who killed the polluting monster yesterday is really amazing, much more amazing than us. That's right, and it's a fire-type superpower. He must be an awakened person among the citizens. The girl he saved thought, could it be him with his performance that day? Even now, I'm afraid I couldn't do that. At the same time, Guanyong entered. This afternoon, someone is registering as an evolver. Do you guys want to go see? Seeing everyone excited, he was satisfied. Good. At this time, Chenchu had finished putting on protective gear. Everyone could only see him through the glass window. A girl in the team looked at him and immediately recognized him. He's the one who drove the luxury car on campus that day. That girl blushed, secretly embarrassed, and thought, it really is him. Guande had been suspicious from the beginning. When he heard his subordinate say this, he thought with a grim face, it really is him. Guande then instructed Chenchu, registering as an evolver requires testing you, mainly testing your strength and speed. Do you have any questions? I have no questions. This is the testing equipment. It can display a maximum force of 150,000 kilogin. Later, you just need to hit it with all your strength. That boy looked over at his friend. Old Lee, how many stars do you think his strength is? Old Lee replied, yesterday he killed the polluter. He's stronger than us, maybe around 3-star level. Everyone buzzed with discussion. Perhaps even 4-star, who knows? What are you thinking? To get a star rating with a punch, you need 5,000 kelu. That's not easy to achieve. Judging by his appearance, he seemed very confident he could make the testing machine explode. Don't joke around. Our captain is a 5-star evolver, and his strength is only 10,000 kelois. Immediately, Chen Luo threw a powerful punch forward. The crowd was shocked again. 12. 100 idol. 86 DG. This is truly 5-star. Yes, a super strong 5-star revolver. He inwardly groaned, still unable to fully control his strength. He'd overdone it. Guande looked at Chen Luo. If you've reached the 5-star standard, you can go to the city's special bureau to receive 50,000 yuan per month. If you're willing to join the Special Operations Bureau, your salary will be doubled. You'll be directly appointed as Deputy Director of the N-City Special Agents Bureau and given the rank of Major. Are you interested? But Chen Luo quickly refused. No, I'm used to being free and unrestrained. He didn't beat around the bush and asked directly, all right then? Did you kill the contaminated being from yesterday? Chen Luo was honest. That's right. Guande continued. Have you awakened flame abilities? Your flames are very strong, no less than the awakened ones I met back then. With your talent, you could join the Special Agents Bureau and even be taken as a disciple by a war god general. Hearing this, Chen Luo wondered inwardly. Are the war god generals humans on the Tianhua ranking? Then he clicked his tongue and said to himself, better not. My giant salamander needs to be kept more secret, and I have my own ways to become stronger. Then Chen Luo replied, no, but thank you for your kind intentions, Director Guan. Scene change. An office news that Chen Luo was a 5-star evolver had spread. Tian Rui immediately called him. My friend, so you're a top-tier 5-star evolver among the people, huh? You'll have to protect this little brother of yours from now on. Chen Luo was surprised. Oh, what's up, Boss Li? The two then chatted happily for a while. After hanging up, Chen Luo thought wearily, I've received too many calls today. Classmates I haven't seen or contacted in years are calling to congratulate me. Is this what it feels like to be revered by others? He then thought of his giant salamander. After swallowing the giant whale, its body length had reached 90 meters. His own stamina had also increased by 1,800 points, and his strength had risen from 29 tons to 70 tons. Chen Luo couldn't help but feel pleased. With the additional protective layer covering my body, I reckon I could even withstand an armor-piercing bullet. According to the evolver system, my overall strength should be at least level 7 or 8. Chen Luo calculated theoretically 7-star was the peak for an awakened one. However, the gap to a 10-star war god general was still an absolute difference in strength. In a peaceful world, even if strength improves daily without any opponents of comparable power. A hint of sadness appeared on his face. Then there's only an unsuppressible emptiness. But it's different now. The apocalypse has erupted, terrifying monsters tear through the void and invade reality. And there are countless powerful awakened ones, evolvers, and even war god generals. And Chen Luo knew they had all stepped onto the stage. With my current growth rate, it won't be long before I can stand shoulder to shoulder with the war god generals. Thinking this, he straightened up. Chen Luo chuckled to himself, resolving, no, I must surpass them all, become an even stronger existence. Just then his phone rang. In the staff group chat, everyone now knew Chen Luo was an evolver. The girls couldn't help but buzz with admiration for Chen Luo. The innocent words of the three girls made Chen Luo chuckle. He read the messages amused. Then Chen Luo feigned seriousness and replied, no slacking off work hard for me. Each girl had a different reaction. Leng Yue immediately replied, yes, boss. Nana, sitting upright at her desk, also messaged, understood, sir. Ling Yue saw his message, smiled slyly, and lazily replied, getting right on it. Scene change. Warehouse at the docks. Chen Luo had immediately moved here. He reached out and his blade quickly appeared. He dragged the blade on the ground, noticing a small figure looking at him. Chen Luo spoke, we're back again, Xiaoxi? The little girl stepped forward, babbling to him. Xiaoxi, open. Instantly, a door opened. Xiaoxi looked at Chen Luo. Door open? She looked very different now compared to when she first came to him. Afraid she might be in danger, Chen Luo immediately instructed, Xiaoxi, you wait here. Don't go anywhere. Let me go in and check. She obediently stood aside, making way for her big brother. Chen Luo stood before the door. It seemed his foot was stepping on something. As soon as he entered, Chen Luo couldn't help but cover his nose, thinking warily, this smell isn't right at all. He looked at the scene before him, puzzled. Does this door lead to a new location every time it's opened? He glanced at Xiaoxi, calculating. If he wanted to stabilize the world behind the door, he'd have to keep the girl maintaining the open door state. But Chen Luo couldn't help worrying. If I do that, what if an even more terrifying monster discovers the door's existence? He remembered the blue-eyed monster chasing him that day, which could guess his exit location based on where he disappeared, and even sent a fire-type magical beast after him. But once the door closes, the next time it opens, it will become an unfamiliar world, and I'll have to explore it all over again. Thinking this, he couldn't help but smirk. A completely random new instance, huh? Chen Luo showed no fear. On the contrary, he thought it didn't feel too bad. At this moment, the system displayed a notification, scorching storm, extremely high temperatures enough to kill most organic life forms. Immediately, scarlet flame reduced the burning effect of the high temperature. Chen Luo stood there unfazed, smiling faintly. Luckily, I have scarlet flame's protection, so this hot wind even feels a bit refreshing. At this moment, his body was being eroded by contaminated energy. Chen Luo's physique successfully immunized him temporarily against the erosion of the contaminated energy. His resistance could fight off this erosion for 15 hours. Chen Luo calculated, 15 hours, huh? Although my physique is very good, I still can't completely resist this contaminated energy. Imagining that awakened ones and war god generals can completely ignore contamination, what heaven-defying realm has their strength reached? Oh well, time is short. Let's see what this world has to offer first. Chen Luo closed his eyes, sensing the waves rapidly emanating from his brain. Chen Luo stood amidst the vast silence, listening to everything around him. Then he opened his eyes. No breath of life, no breath of magical beasts. This is a completely desolate world. No wonder this hellish world doesn't seem like a place where life can be born. I might as well go back and protect the little girl, open another door. After all, instances can be opened at will. Lost in thought at the same time, something rose from behind Chen Luo. He was startled and turned around. From the fiery pit, a ferocious, dark monster emerged. Chen Luo immediately swung his blade, slashing at it. Sparks scattered and then regrouped. It seemed this thing was quite difficult to deal with. It lunged at him. Through the system, Chen Luo learned this was a level 3 difficulty, toxic smoke demon. Chen Luo was surprised. Even my skills didn't detect this magical beast. It seems this world still has something interesting. Of course, it didn't give him time to think. The monster immediately lunged again. Chen Luo stood still unmoving, and it threw itself onto the blade in his hand. Based on his observation, Chen Luo deduced, observation haki has no problem. This demon in front of me isn't a living creature. If it's an evil entity, then only lightning can exorcise it. Evil disperse. Chen Luo's entire body immediately emitted a current of electricity enveloping him. Carefully observing its movement speed, Chen Luo quickly channeled his internal energy-gathering lightning. He moved his body, and instantly a violent strike shot towards the monster. The lightning, like a thunder god's strike, hit it hard. The immense speed and power were too much for the monster to handle. The monster only had time to scream once. Instantly, the fire on its body was stripped away, leaving only a dry skeleton. After the system announced he had killed it, all that remained of the monster was a rotten skull falling powerlessly. Chen Luo watched it surprised. A bizarre level 3 demon, huh? It doesn't seem strong, but because it's immune to physical attacks, armament haki can't hurt it. Also perhaps because it was born in lava, fire attacks have no effect on it. He looked at the lightning in his hand and smiled faintly. Perhaps I was lucky to have a skill that could control it. Otherwise, this battle could have been incredibly difficult. Suddenly, a familiar figure flickered in the distance. Chen Luo was startled and looked over. Upon seeing the little girl, Chen Luo's face darkened. He shouted angrily, "Xiaoxi, didn't I tell you to stay outside the door? It's extremely dangerous in here right now." Seeing Chen Luo angry, the little girl looked up sadly and explained, "Luo worried danger." Unable to withstand his little sister's cuteness, Chen Luo inwardly clicked his tongue. Forget it. It's not necessarily safe outside either. He stepped forward, patted Xiaoxi's head, and said softly, "How about this? You walk behind me. Stay a little further away and don't get close, okay?" The little girl immediately cheered up, obediently followed, and then hid herself. Chen Luo continued forward, observing his surroundings on high alert. According to Chen Luo's senses, there seemed to be something in the distance. Suddenly, where Chen Luo was standing, the volcano erupted, lava surging high, startling him. He immediately leaped away. Luckily, he reacted quickly. The spot where he stood was then engulfed in fire. Chen Luo flew like a bird over treacherous cliffs, the fire below spreading wider, burying everything. Although he had escaped immediate danger, Chen Luo was still uneasy. He continued to ascend, looking for higher ground. Finally, he found a place to stop. Chen Luo chose to land on the highest cliff to get a panoramic view. The fire had not yet reached where he stood. Chen Luo looked at what was before him, dumbfounded. This, instead of a building, it looks more like some kind of seal or prison. It could even completely conceal the aura of a powerful great demon. He moved closer to the chains. It turned out the real reward of this world was Vanfell the Flamewing, a true dragon. The red dragon with a sleek black body was imprisoned and could only lie in one place. He looked at it arrogantly. I can't even imagine how explosive Scarlet Flame, Lightning, and Hockey will become after adding countless attribute points. The dragon stood up. Despite being chained, it was still very arrogant. Foolish human, do you really think you can challenge me? How ridiculous, this world belongs to me, intruder. Since you've come before me, I'll be merciful and give you 2 choices. As it spoke, it glared at him. The conditions are as follows. 1, I can bury you completely here. Of course, not even your bones will be left. And for the other option, I'd also gladly accept some new additions to my ranks of servants. All you have to do is kneel here and praise the might of Vanfell the Flamewing. Instead of doing as it said, he chuckled lightly. I'm not interested in who you are, but I am very interested in dragon bones, Chenluo said with an extremely calm expression. It had never seen a human stand before it with such arrogance. The dragon roared angrily, Audacious! At the same time, from beneath the lava flow, those fire people immediately jumped up. Chenluo couldn't help but find it interesting. Toxic smoke demons. I wondered what kind of monsters they'd be. Wait, turning into a toxic smoke demon. Is this the result of agreeing to become your servant? The black dragon immediately ordered, kill him and drag his corpse into the lava river. Immediately, the fire people obeyed and charged towards Chenluo simultaneously. He looked at them and for some reason burst out laughing. From Chenluo's body, a stream of power immediately gushed out like long tendrils carrying strong electric currents weaving around and tightly binding the targets. The fire people caught by those tendrils immediately exploded. The dragon watched, stunned. What happened? In an instant, all my servants were annihilated. Chenluo channeled his internal energy again, thinking, having a black dragon as a pet would be quite interesting. With that, he slowly turned around and asked it, Why don't you become my servant? The dragon immediately looked at Chenluo as if he were an alien creature. It roared in anger, Fool! Instantly, the ground where Chenluo stood began to crack. At this moment, Chenluo also immediately summoned his blade. He gripped the blade tightly in his hand. Red veins spread from the hilt across the entire sword. Fire from the lava shot up. Only then did the two truly begin their battle. Facing such a strong enemy, Chenluo showed no signs of worry at all. On the contrary, he even smiled at it. Then Chenluo powerfully swung his sword, a strike aimed straight at the dragon. It was fixed by chains, so its movement was limited. The attack aimed at its neck, cutting deeply, making the dragon scream in pain. From the cut, a golden fire-like substance resembling lava flowed out. It was so angry its breathing became ragged. Let me send you to hell. Then it also gathered its internal energy, taking a deep breath. The dragon looked at him and couldn't help but laugh loudly. Next, it blew a massive flame towards Chenluo. This was hellfire dragon breath, its heat naturally far exceeding that of lava. On Chenluo's side, he quickly raised his sword. He used his scarlet flame body to block the flames. It seemed this method was quite effective. Chenluo was surrounded by a small circle, but it was enough to prevent the fire from burning through. Seeing the scene before him, Chenluo couldn't help but say proudly, Is that all? The dragon then immediately opened its massive maw. It sucked up all the fire from the lava below. At the same time, it roared angrily at Chenluo, Turn to ash for me! And so a huge flame like an apocalypse instantly shot towards Chenluo. The dragon couldn't help but laugh excitedly. It looked at him, boasting, In my world, no one can withstand my hellfire dragon breath for even a second. It seemed as if Chenluo was dead, but at this moment from within the thick smoke a voice rang out, I thought it would be much stronger. Turns out it just blows a bit harder than a large hairdryer, Chenluo said while ruffling his hair. The dragon was terrified inwardly. What, it wondered. Then, not giving him a chance to be smug for long, it continued to gather power. And Chenluo, of course, wouldn't just stand there and let it attack. At this moment, he channeled his internal energy and flew up. Just as the dragon opened its mouth, Chenluo launched a kick, aiming straight for its mouth. When the flames erupted from its mouth, he leaned aside to dodge. Chenluo landed nearby and said, I wield the superhuman power of fire, and I also have the energy field of the Demon Emperor armor, so now my fire resistance defense is maxed out. I barely even need to pay attention to this bit of dragon breath heat. The black dragon was astonished. You can even be immune to my dragon breath. You're quite interesting. As it spoke, it lifted its leg and slowly crawled out. Instantly, the dragon lunged, opening its huge mouth. Well then, what if you're torn apart by my sharp teeth? With that, it viciously bit down with its 2 rows of sharp teeth. It seemed that today the dragon wouldn't stop until it took his life. But Chen Luo was a step faster. He immediately leaped high, dodging the bite. Chen Luo shot straight up to the dragon's neck. It was momentarily surprised, but couldn't react in time. A profound look appeared in Chen Luo's eyes. Inwardly, Chen Luo couldn't help but laugh loudly. Immediately, Chen Luo drew his sword and made a long gash along the dragon's spine, causing fresh blood to gush out. His movements were incredibly smooth until the sword was suddenly caught by something. Chen Luo was also surprised. He paused for a moment to observe what was underneath. Suddenly, from the torn places on its body, a great flame erupted. Chen Luo then leaped to the ground. No wonder you're called the Flame Wing. You really can turn it red. But now this is just your final struggle. Armament Haki open. He channeled his internal energy, showing off a bit. This is a new move I just comprehended. Scarlet Flame Blood Armor on the Flame Wings. It roared in fury. You dare to secretly learn my abilities, die for me. Once again, Chen Luo immediately launched himself. The dragon was momentarily startled, and so from above, he ferociously slashed his blade down onto the middle of the dragon's neck. Chen Luo's blade was extremely sharp. It cleanly severed the dragon's head. Finally, he had successfully killed the 5-star dragon-type monster and gained many more points. Chen Luo's face seemed to be enveloped in fire. He glared at it contemptuously and said, "You're out of chances, trash." Xiaoxi wandered around looking at the dragon's corpse. She couldn't help but curiously observe it up close. The little girl appeared sitting in front of the head and couldn't help but exclaim, "Luo is amazing! The fire dragon is dead!" At this moment, he closed his eyes, concentrating. Relying on the enhancement effect of 4,000 physique points, just burning a fraction of his blood ki produced such terrifying power. This level of physical exertion could barely keep up with his recovery rate. This state, then, let's call it the first form of blood armor. He approached the dragon's corpse, pondering. The scales, teeth, flesh, and blood of this transformed dragon, even its hot lava-like blood, are all extraordinary materials. Just selling this head to the government could fetch at least 100 million. There's just one problem when I sell this 5-star dragon's head. How do I explain its origin? If I say I killed it alone, wouldn't that reveal my 6th or even 7th star strength? Then Chen Luo reached out and picked up his mischievous little sister. Come down. Xiaoxi mentioned the dragon's corpse again. He calculated, let's keep it for now. Dragon meat might be delicious. Chen Luo had to spend 200 attribute points for storage space for it. Then, it immediately dissipated. He had successfully stored the dragon's head. Chen Luo couldn't help but feel pleased. 400 attribute points for enhancement. Looking at himself, I need clairvoyance strong enough to see hidden intelligence. Xiaoxi looked at him nervously. Evolve 400 attribute points to enhance armament Haki. A powerful aura flowed around his body. Chen Luo smiled with satisfaction. His entire body now seemed to be surrounded by power. Chen Luo slowly landed on the ground. After finishing his evolution, Chen Luo was inwardly surprised. So I even awakened Conqueror's Haki. He held out his hand. This is the legendary Conqueror's Haki, which can instinctively make people feel fear. Its domineering power can especially make people tremble and unable to move with just a glance. Thinking of this, Chen Luo felt a bit troubled and sighed. Then he immediately tested its power. Using this to clean up riffraff would be very useful. And indeed, they vanished without a trace. Scene change. A large sea area. This was Country L's ocean fishing vessel. The sailors on board were currently hauling up their nets. Everyone was extremely excited, shouting, "Fish are coming up! They're coming up! Hurry!" But unlike usual, only a few small fish and crabs remained in the net. The crew couldn't help but wonder, how strange, why is the catch so small? One of them with a dark face grumbled, "What's the big deal? As long as they're not dead fish, it's fine." Suddenly, one of them stammered in fright, "Everyone look, what's that?" Something seemed to be rising from beneath the sea surface. Right where it bulged, a streak of lightning, as if there was electricity underneath, suddenly surged, startling everyone. Then a bolt of lightning from an unknown source struck the water surface, causing fish to jump up incessantly. The fishermen couldn't help but cheer joyfully. Fish! So many fish! I've never seen so many fish in my life. It turned out that below was the giant salamander. After eating its fill, perhaps this was its way of giving back. And at this moment in the deep sea, in front of the giant salamander, was a large cave. Up here, Chen Luo could feel that Haki had made the lizard's aura even stronger. Wherever it passed, Even the fish became motionless. Then he channeled his internal energy again. Chen Luo couldn't help but feel thrilled. Fusing scarlet flame and lightning. I can actually fly. And flying unassisted is a desire deeply ingrained in human genes. As he flew, he thought, as long as I channel the chi of lightning and fire, I can ascend to the heavens and descend to the earth, escaping the shackles of gravity. In just a moment, Chen Luo had soared high up. Chen Luo was like an immortal from a mythological film. Suddenly, he didn't know what he saw, but he abruptly stopped. Chen Luo thought to himself, my intuition tells me there are still many unexplored places in this world. Even I, who thought the Flame Wing was the master of this world, haven't fully sensed all existences here. After all, the Flame Wing was just an imprisoned demon dragon. There must still be stronger experts who managed to imprison that dragon. I must go there and see what exactly happened. After flying for a long time, he was now at the ruins of a giant kingdom. The walls here were crudely carved, but over time, cracks had appeared. The patterns on them were also somewhat abstract, similar to the patterns on pyramids. Chen Luo guessed, could it be that a giant dragon civilization once existed here? Then what could make giant dragons worship it? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but frown and ask himself, a dragon god or a true god? Then Chen Luo looked at the stone door, feeling wary. It felt as if stepping through it would lead to extremely great danger. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. Then Chen Luo used his fastest speed to rush in. Although he knew it was dangerous, he couldn't overcome his curiosity. After entering, Chen Luo was surprised. It seemed that in front of them the Flame Wing was just a little brother. At this moment, the system displayed a series of urgent notifications. The contamination power in this place is rapidly increasing. Chen Luo said to himself, my intuition was right. There's something abnormal in this grand hall. Even before revealing its true form, it has proven its ability to cause terrifying contamination. With that thought, he immediately shouted, stop hiding, I know you're here! A loud echo reverberated Chen Luo's voice. Stop hiding, I know you're here! Echo. What happened next startled Chen Luo. He was dazed for a moment. Instantly, a beam of light from an unknown source shot straight towards Chen Luo. This made him even more vigilant, but Chen Luo remained calm and said loudly, who's there? Immediately, a sturdy body with 4 arms quickly appeared. The figure replied to Chen Luo, Honorable Awakened One. Immediately after that, monster quickly shed its white outer layer, and a dark face instantly appeared.